as the leader of the Booner Pack, I lead from the front.
All right, boys. Lock in.
It's our core foundation, man. Grit.
I'm fired up. I'm fired the f*** up, boys.
It's bumping right now. It's got my juice pumping, boys.
Welcome to Crunch Time Sports with Jeff, Booner, and Lucas. It is Wednesday, May 28th, and we are back. And we got a packed show today. Packed show today, man. I'm fired up. The boys are fired up. We got special guests joining. Two on a Doc Wednesday.
Big.
Of course, we have the Doc, right? It's the Doc's day. The Doc's got to make room for the former Detroit Lions fullback / linebacker, Jason Cabinda. He'll be joining today as well. So shout out to his team. Shout out to Jason for wanting to join. We reached out to him. He was like, I'm down. Let's make it happen. And we made it happen. So I'm fired up, boys. We got a packed show. OTAs are upon us. Let's get after it, man. Let's go. Come on.
Pumped up. Jason Cabinda, fullback. One of the greatest fullbacks ever. Corey Schlesinger, Jason Cabinda.
Hoffers, Boone. Hoffers. Yeah, I'm excited. Another great day knowing that Alvin Kamara is a top 10 running back. Now we get to be able to talk to a fullback, talk a little Detroit Lions. I can't wait, fellas. Great show. Doc on later. Get to ask him about his rash, get an update on that. I'm excited, fellas.
Yeah.
It'll be a great show.
Talk to the Doc, man. You know,
My
second hour OTAs, his rash, maybe some of his watch collection that he's been.
Yeah, I mean, this guy, dude, sending his watch. Doc, I would tell you what, he is a unfiltered man. I'll tell you that. The text that throughout the weeks, getting texts from Doc might be one of the most, like, my biggest highlights of the week, for sure. There's a lot of things going on in the chat right now about my hat.
I love the hat, Boone.
Upside down, backwards. People are saying it's throwing them off. I think this is in now. This is a new Crunch Time hat. I don't know if we even have this. I don't know if this is real. I don't know if this hat is even released on our marketplace yet or on our store. I think this might be an unreleased hat.
So the upside down Crunch Time golf hat is not. I think the logo, the regular Crunch Time logo with the golf hat is, but yeah, I like that. I like the hat a lot, Boom. So I like it. It's fire. We have a ton of products on the website. You guys can get it. Got the hoodie, the Kings of the North hoodie, rocking that right now.
Love it. Yeah, no, never mind. Plain black. Okay, that's on me. I thought I had it on. Did not. Just the Crunch Time hat. We should drop these hats because at the end of the day, these are golf hats. It's golf season. If we wait to drop them, the golf season's going to be over with.
Yeah, we'll drop them. Maybe tomorrow I'll just put them up. So if you need golf stuff, it'll be up there. My golf experience over the weekend. You see that reel on our channel, not breaking 100. You know what, though? I had positive comments on that. You know, golf people they jumped to that reel. They were like, don't worry, man, you'll get it soon. Like, head up. Like, they were there for the kid, man. So appreciate those people.
Hopefully you get it soon. I think you will. You will.
Hey, by the way, Shift God said, Jeff, don't tell that to Stephon Diggs. I don't know what he means by that. But by the way, that's what happens, Mike Vrabel, when you sign Stephon Diggs. Sorry, you just have to deal with that. That's part of having Stephon Diggs.
He'll be catching touchdowns.
Yeah, well, yeah.
They needed to get somebody out there. Jalen Polk. That was their wide receiver one. Demario Douglas.
Well, and look who they brought in as a mentor. Huh? It's good.
Yeah, that's probably not the best option.
Stephon Diggs will be very good for New England. He won't be prime
very good out. He'll be good.
He'll be like a 800, 1,000 yard type of guy if he stays healthy.
Yeah. Okay.
I need that.
Cool.
We'll see.
But hey, we got to worry about our guys, man. Hutch was back at practice, and by the way, I want to ask a question: is Hutch wearing a Dewey?
Yeah, I think he is. Yeah,
I was wondering the same thing.
Pretty sure he is.
Does he have a Dewey on? That's the trending thing today. He walked out there, had the leg sleeve on the leg that he injured. He's out there walking. He's out there getting after it. And the first thing everyone comments on our video we posted on our Instagram was hashtag is Hutch wearing a Dewey. All right, the do-rag, baby. Didn't think that would be what's trending today, but at least Hutch is out there, man. He's out there. He's getting
He's moving, too.
Yeah. And we'll talk to the Doc later because the media will be there later this week, so they'll get to see really what it's all about over there. So, yeah, I don't. It's cool if Hutch wants to rock.
We might be witnessing like the villain arc of Hutch. Like, you know, like I was just watching. Jazz has never seen Breaking Bad, so I made her watch Breaking Bad. You know, and like Walter White finally like is done putting up with shit.
I don't know. No spoilers. I haven't seen Breaking Bad.
Hey, first episode, Boone. First episode. You'll be with us. This is all in the first episode. That's Hutch when he puts on that Dewey. He remembers that leg breaking. He remembers being down there in Dallas. He's ready to put on some business. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he got the black Air Force cleats coming out next.
Yeah, I mean, look, you got Panay out here with
Panay has the black visor too, though. All black visor. That's scary. Panay with the black visor. DJ Reed.
DJ Reed. You got JMO.
JMO with the one looks clean, man.
Hutch,
you see that? Can you rewind that real quick?
Yeah.
Hold on a sec. How was he moving? Can we watch that a few times? He's moving nice. That's defensive player of the year movement if I've ever seen it. Who's 23? I don't remember who 23. That was Carlton before.
Yeah,
who was
Carlton
that now?
Last year. Is that might be one of the new corners. Might be like Rock Ya-Sin. Could be wrong.
Wait, hold on. Go back.
TP
Who's 12?
TP12. Hey, who's 12?
Oh, damn. I thought that was Hendon Hooker for a second. I thought Hendon was 12. I was like, what is Hendon out here doing routes for? Look at Jay. Hey, J-Bo looks good in the one, man.
I want to see look at
19. Pretty sure that was 11.
I don't know. I don't know who 23 is. That's the.
I can look it up real quick. I got us. Hold on.
I'm gonna put a wager down for either Avonte Maddox or Rock Ya-Sin.
Avonte Maddox sounds right.
Yeah.
Who do you guys think?
I'm gonna go based off the build. I'll go with Rock, but I feel like Avonte was 23 in Philly, so I don't know. I'll go with Rock.
He already said it. He already said who it was.
Oh, I thought Jeff was like making his guess.
No,
my fault.
He said who it was. He said I'm gonna go with Rock.
Pick on JMO over there. So then that's what I was talking about yesterday. Like I'm not gonna I saw Ahmed out there too. I mean,
he looks big, dude. I'm telling you.
Yeah, he's a big dude.
Dude.
He's a big dude. And you see him now like actually walking out there. Like, yeah, this guy's massive. But like I said yesterday, it's basically going to be more of a 7-on-7. That's kind of what you're going to be looking at more so is like the 7-on-7 stuff where it's like glorified, where you'll see DBs and wide receivers. Like you'll see Isaac Tesla. You know, you get to see Rock Ya-Sin get a pick. Hey,
was that a pick? Is that what that was?
Yeah.
Getting active.
Yeah, had the pick.
All right.
I don't know who was throwing the ball. We don't need to dive into that.
Might have been Hendon. I'm not.
Yeah, I wonder.
We don't need to dive into that.
I'm not gonna lie.
Might have been Kyle Allen.
You know? I actually thought that was Hendon Hooker running a route there for a second, and I was like, okay, Hendon, get out there a little bit, get active. You know.
You never know. You know, could have been Kyle Allen. Maybe it was Nate Sudfeld coming back. You know,
yeah.
Maybe
No,
I
think that journey ended. Jake Fromm concluded that story. Jake Fromm didn't have to play a snap for this team to improve it. He improved it by letting Nate Sudfeld go and get business elsewhere.
Hey, did you guys? I couldn't.
Yeah, this is unbelievable.
I couldn't believe this. This is crazy. I guess not as crazy, but I can't imagine a Lions fan ever making this mistake. But if you guys don't watch the St. Brown Brothers podcast, they had your guy. Lucas, Cam Scatabo.
Come on.
You know what's crazy? When they had Isaac on and they had Cam on, and they're both like post 2000 babies.
Yeah.
And they did like a game where they asked him, they showed him pictures and they said, guess who it is? Like, guess the athlete.
Great segment.
Let's take a listen. Just hear this.
Him in the uniform or just a face, and you're going to tell me who it is. You just swipe right and you tell me each player.
I got no idea who this is.
There's no way.
I did not expect his voice to sound like that. What the hell?
He's an 0-2 baby. He's telling me you don't know who that is. Nah, this is making me sick, bro.
Wait, I feel like I know his face, but I don't know. I can't tell you his name.
One of the best receivers to ever play the game of football. He played for the Lions.
I mean, he's giving him.
Is Megatron?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
I thought he had a little bit more chocolate to him. I thought he was a little bit more darker than that.
Whether it's him in the uniform.
I mean,
I'll say this: it is fair, and obviously big stars. You probably should know. football they wear helmets. So you're not like I don't know. There's probably big time players that if they walked by me at a grocery store without a helmet, I would have no clue. They like unless just by like size or something. But I can see where it goes wrong with the face. You don't, he's wearing a helmet all the time. You don't get
You're
to see
being
his
way
face.
too nice.
I'm trying to see where maybe there's like a disconnect there. That's
I can
all.
see if it was like, all due respect, like Jamal Agnew walking in a Walmart, or a Meijer.
Yeah.
But like we're talking about.
Why did Jamal Agnew catch a stray?
I don't know.
But Jeff, you do got to understand,
saying, like,
we are in Detroit, so
no.
there is.
But he's one of the greatest to ever.
I know. I'm with you on that.
Position. It would be an exception if it was like name this player, and it's like it's like okay.
I'm trying to think of like a all-time player that I'm trying to think of a face of them. And
would you recognize Steve Young if he was walking through a Walmart?
No, I know what he looks like, but I mean, if he was just wearing everyday
like
clothes and just walked by me, I would just be like, I wouldn't. I know what Steve Young does look like, though. Like if I saw a picture,
but there's people that look like Steve Young, so maybe like, hey, that looks like Steve Young, maybe.
I just think like, especially if like not being from Detroit or like growing up a Lions fan, like I get it if you're a football guy. Don't you guys remember though? Like a lot of NFL players like didn't even grow up watching the NFL. To be honest, like they just
it is crazy.
DJ Moore.
Yeah, like they just like I just like to play football. Like, I don't watch it Sundays.
It's like Larry Fitzgerald. Like if he was walking around, you'd be like, "That's Larry Fitzgerald." Would you disagree or no?
Can I ask you this?
I mean, as a lover of the game, yes.
Yeah, I agree. Like Larry, you would know that's Larry Fitzgerald. At a national level, Larry did like national commercials, marketing. Did Kelvin do that much as Larry did? Because Larry was on like everything.
He didn't really do a lot of that, no. But he did torch everyone's team. But if you're not watching the NFL like that, I guess.
And if you don't see him off the field on commercials and stuff, you would just have no clue. Like I feel like Kelvin, maybe he did some commercials, but I don't feel like he like marketed his face out there like a Larry Fitzgerald did.
No, he wasn't like that. I mean, he said,
it's the top 5 wide receiver of all time. Top 3 in my opinion, but I know some people like to rearrange it.
He said I thought
like a unanimous. Maybe like a good comp would be like if Andre Johnson, because he played for a bad team with the Texans, never really got. Would you recognize Andre Johnson if he was walking around?
But
again, I would actually.
We've been NFL fans, so like Andre Johnson,
Andre Johnson was so good.
Yeah, like you.
San Antonio Holmes. Schiff I wouldn't know what he looked like if I walked by him.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that Santonio Holmes. Yeah, I guess that's actually a good one.
There's a couple out there that I know I wouldn't. If you started naming some, I would be like, not even just wide receivers, just like all-time great players.
Champ Bailey?
Yes, I would actually. I've seen Champ Bailey before, not in person, but a lot.
It's just like
Walter Payton. Is Walter Payton alive? I'm sorry if he's not.
No, he's not. Wow, that is literally like an example. One of the literally probably one of like. I don't know, probably 3 or 4 of like you want to talk about legends you can't name. Walter Payton's probably at the top of the list.
If I saw Walter Payton if he was alive and he walked by me, I would have no clue it was Walter Payton.
Well, I mean, he won't. He would.
We move.
Yeah, he would.
I'm just trying to. I'm thinking of players. Name a couple. Give me a couple.
Daniel Tomlinson.
I wouldn't know unless he had like the Charger earring. I wouldn't.
Yeah, LT. I don't know.
Jason Taylor, remember the Dolphins linebacker?
Yeah, but he is a big. You would have he would stand out. He's
I think like I wouldn't know who he is though. I'd be like, who is that? He might have played in the league, man.
Out of all the things that Cam could have said after, that's just like, I mean, I thought he'd have a little more chocolate to him. Like out of all the out of all the responses this man could have had by not naming,
I didn't think he looked like that.
Yeah, I thought like it's like, oh my gosh, yeah, I don't know. I guess I can't relate to it, but to what you said, Boone, I can understand it. I can. Yeah. If you don't watch the game, but you're in the NFL. He did say he wasn't a San Francisco 49er fan. He was watching when the Lions were down. The Lions were up, and he turned off the game, and then they won. So that's awesome. Sweet. Unfortunately,
like to be remembered at that
I didn't
game.
watch
I'll never
this shit.
forget. It was halftime, and my dad is never somebody that likes to go to sports events. Like he likes staying in the house, in his own house, on the couch. But at halftime, he was ready to crack into the savings, and he was looking at flights. Where was the Super Bowl at? I think it was in Vegas that year, wasn't it?
New Orleans.
New Orleans.
Wait, no, this year it was in New Orleans.
No,
it was
it was
in,
I think it
was
was
it Vegas?
Dude, he was like minutes, seconds away from purchasing 3 tickets for him, me, and my brother to go to Vegas to watch the Lions Super. Not even go to the Super Bowl, just go to Vegas. And then 15 minutes later, the dude was throwing a TV remote and going to bed.
I'll tell you what. I was with Jeff at Ford Field for the watch party. I've said it publicly a lot. That was one of the greatest days of my life and one of the worst days of my life, all within a 4-hour span. I've never experienced such emotions like that. Being at Ford Field, the people like Kool-Aid guy, like running up to me. I was like, this is the greatest day of my life. Go up 17, people are running up to me, giving me hugs, high fives. I was like, this is the greatest moment I will ever have. We're going to the Super Bowl, and I'm here with the people and then all of a sudden,
Juwan Jennings and Brandon Ayuk.
Man,
Yeah,
that was heartbreaking, man. That was one of the more,
that was
best,
I think
best
that was
and
the
worst
toughest
times
loss.
of my life.
I think that. Would you think
My
that
life.
loss or the loss this year to the Commanders?
That loss was the toughest one. That one always will hurt. That I don't think there will be a loss ever in my life as a Lions fans unless we lose like in drastic fashion in a Super Bowl. That will top that. Just based off of like the situation I was in, and like Jeff, like I was I don't think people realize the 2-hour span that happened in my head and Jeff's head. Me, like I'm screaming at Jeff at Ford Field, you need to leave this stadium right now. Like you are jinxing our fan base. Like people, there were fans around me like, we need to get this guy out of here about me.
Dude, that was ridiculous.
It was true though. Like I had people texting me. I wish I could go back and look at the amount of tweets of people tagging me on Twitter. Get Jeff Iafrate out of Ford Field right now. And I'm like, I feel like I had a burning, like, I don't know. I held like the keys to the kingdom for Lions Nation, and I had to get this guy out of Ford Field, and he refused.
Or Boone, do you think it could have just been maybe you had a couple drinks?
No, I definitely had some drinks, but
you think that's what it could? The burnings
in the moment, you got to think when things are tumbling, like when you're in a situation like that where you're up 17 and things start to tumble down, and you're surrounded by 30,000 Lions fans, and you have probably 100 people tweeting at you, and other people texting and calling you saying, "Get this guy out of Ford Field." And you have some drinks in you, what are you supposed to do?
That's fair.
I don't.
Car get acquired, go finish the mission. And I attempted it.
I don't think people understand how like it wasn't like a hey bro, like you gotta leave. Like he was at the end of the aisle in Ford Field screaming. Like honestly, people thought like Boone had like an emergency. He was like, we need to leave. Like people were like, what's going on with him? Like they were looking at me like, is he okay? Like what's going on? I'm like, I'm not gonna sit here and explain why he's yelling. He's yelling, and he's over here like, we need to leave. He's like, Jeff, you gotta leave. Everyone around me,
you would have walked you out, went directly back in.
I was like, holy shit. I mean, I'm like, you know what? I didn't leave. I mean, and you know what?
Probably the amount of Kyle Shanahan glaze that went into that week from you was probably an immense amount, and it probably just took over the vibes there. Like it was great, like Boone said, people recognizing Boone, the vibes are great, but then halftime kind of calculated the whole environment, and there's still like, oh, I would love to see Kyle Shanahan win his first Super Bowl.
Oh no, if someone would have said that to me, it was the greatest day of my life for a little bit.
Yeah,
it was. I felt like I was on top of the world everywhere I went. People, that was my first like welcome to this world moment in media.
and then
I had a little kid in front of me that turned around, looked right at me, and pulled his phone out, and it was just me. It was like 6 years old, and it was Amon-Ra St. Brown's post. He said, "Is this you?" Yes, son, that's me. I said, "Yes, son, that's me." And then I chugged my beer.
His phone case.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And then I started, and then everything started going downhill from there. After that moment, everything went downhill.
I mean, your life peaked, Boone.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
just started.
it
looking
really
at
did.
people, and I was like, don't mind him. He's on bath salts right now. Just let him. He's just having.
He drank too much
Sweating
Kool-Aid.
profusely, just
Yeah,
going up and down the aisles. He probably did.
That's literally what I was running up and down. The security people up there didn't care. They were like, some of the security people knew who I was from drinking Kool-Aid. So they're just like, just let this guy do whatever. And I'm just running up and down the aisles and Ford Field in the section, sprinting up and down, screaming at Jeff.
You probably look like a tweaker over there. No, they probably did want to leave you alone. Like, let that guy just find his mind for a second. Like,
this
let
guy's
him
off
go.
bath salts.
He's
Just let
fighting
him.
demons.
In those moments, man, I mean, trying to win a football game, it's tough.
Hey, before we get Jason on, USA Today wrote some breakout players for the NFC North. So I want to show you guys who they have for each team. All right.
Okay.
Let's start first with the team that I'm not a fan of. It's the Chicago Bears. And their breakout
Your
player
supporter.
is Luther Burden the third.
Fair.
That is their breakout player. It says Chicago had a void at slot receiver after they let Keenan Allen walk in free agency. Burden has a chance to replace Allen in the slot. Some scouts consider him a first-round talent despite him slipping into the second round. Burden's already motivated to make teams pay for passing on him. Yeah, I mean, but I guess breakout, would Colson Loveland qualify as that? I guess not. I mean, I don't know. Probably he's a first-round pick, so I guess I don't know if that would qualify. But I was going to say, why would you go with the guy who's probably going to get spoon-fed all year?
Either one of those two are going to end up having that offense has weapons through the wazoo right now. Klotz is going to play that cool guy. Oh, Colson's not that actually that good, and Luther's not going to be able to fit in there. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. He's going to be wrong on both of those. Luther Burden and Colston Loveland are going to be good for that Bears team.
I don't mind Big Luth. I never had no ill will against Big Luth. I didn't think
you said it was a bad
Golden.
pick.
I think for when you look at it, okay, so let's say Luther Burden does break out. I'm assuming that would probably mean north of, what would you guys say, 600-700 yards?
Probably, yeah. 8.
So let's think. DJ Moore is obviously going to get his. What happens to Rome Odunze?
Rome's going to eat too. I think Rome's
but if he does, I don't see Rome and Luther both eating.
No, I'm with you.
Offense like that with the second-year quarterback. Not saying that Caleb's not going to be playing good, but I mean, I don't think a second-year quarterback is just going to be able to feed 3 wide receivers and a tight end and a check down running back in DeAndre Swift the ball for all of these guys to be breaking out.
Well, for the Packers, they have Matthew Golden. So I guess first-round picks do qualify.
Wide receivers, man, weapons. I think this one's way more fair than Luther Burden, to be honest.
Yeah.
You think he gets 1,000?
Yes. Dave, the thing with the Packers is they just haven't – their problem is they haven't had a wide receiver one in that building. They thought that guys were. They thought guys like Christian Watson and Reed, you see there. Who else did they put in there?
Romeo
I'm trying to think.
Romeo
They keep thinking some of these guys are, and none of them's really like stepped up. Or even if they're about to step up and they start playing really well, there's an injury that comes along. Or like Jaden Reed, he has these great games, but just like the inconsistency of everything. I think Matthew Golden, to Klotz's point, he's been saying it all offseason, so I hope he sticks to it here. Could be the number one wide receiver in this draft class. I think it's going to end up being Emeka Egbuka. Just my opinion, just my personal preference. But I think Matthew Golden has a chance to be one of them. I think he ends up being that wide receiver one for this team that they've been kind of waiting to get. I think he ends up cracking 1,000. Like I feel like Jordan Love's going to fall in love with him.
No pun intended. I like the Buka Love Boone. I don't hate that either. But I do think Matthew Golden will be the best wide receiver. The only reason why I'm questioning 1,000 yards is because I think at least early on in the season, like even Jordan Love, even Matt LaFleur, they don't know who their wide receiver one is. So I think there's going to be, at least at the beginning part of the season, I think Matthew Golden, and you see it a lot with rookies, like the later part of the season we saw with Amon-Ra, that's when they kind of cement the role in that offense. But I do think it's like, oh, it's Jaden Reed week. Oh, it's Christian Watson week. Oh, Romeo Doubs is catching 2 touchdowns this week, and Dontavion Wicks is getting 60 yards. Like, I think they're still going to be trying to figure out the identity of that passing offense. And then going in the meantime, Matthew Golden's still going to get fed. But I don't know if he's going to be like, boom, instantly wide receiver one in like the first 4 weeks. But as the season goes on after the bye week, Matthew Golden, I think, will start to pick up good games, and you'll see the wide receiver he is. I don't know if that equals 1,000 yards. I don't really think it's like, oh, didn't reach 1,000 yards, bad pick. Like, no, I think you're going to see the skill that he possessed. I'm not saying that you were saying that, Boone, but I think some people look like He's a wide receiver one. Clearly, it's his rookie season. He should have 1,000 yards. And I said, I don't know if it's going to play out like that in a run-heavy offense.
Well, we have 2 wide receivers. The Vikings, now we move to the big fellas. They have Donovan Jackson, who they drafted in the first round. And they already signed Ryan Kelly, Will Fries. They added Donovan Jackson. And this one is completely fair. 5 sacks and almost 1,300 pass blocking snaps is pretty ridiculous. And he played a lot of that at tackle. So that Vikings O-line is going to be pretty good, I would say. Pretty good with Donovan Jackson, but they have an offensive guard. That means we get to the Lions breakout player, which is another offensive guard. That is Tate Ratledge.
There we go. Love it. Love it.
Tate Ratledge is the Lions breakout player. It says Ratledge fits right into Detroit's tough and physical O-line identity. Ratledge allowed 1 sack and 2 pressures in 365 snaps during his final season at Georgia. The Lions lost veteran right guard Kevin Zeiler in free agency. Ratledge is slated to replace him. If there's anyone of this class that can step in right away and have an impact, it's Tate Ratledge. He's literally there is a need at guard. So, I think this is probably out of all the ones we probably went through. This one to me is yes,
perfect one.
This is it. I don't know. A breakout to me would just be you don't hear his name. I guess that would be the best thing. Too much. Maybe he had some pancakes.
Would you rather Tate Ratledge or Tyleek be the biggest breakout out of this draft class?
Oh,
Tyleek.
Not
even a question.
Because that would mean he takes that job.
Yeah, he takes it over. If he becomes a breakout player, you get him in the first round, and he performs a top half pick in that first round. That's great momentum.
But what if you get Tate? Back. Tate breaks out, and you have your starting guard for the next 8 years.
But
you do have a Lehman DJ already.
Either way, I think it's a great situation. I just think I just like watching a mean defensive tackle that can put some pressure on the quarterback a little bit more. Doesn't make the other side invaluable. A little bit more than a guard that's pancaking people. Both are fun to watch. Love watching both. Just give me the defensive hog molly instead of the offense.
Listen, Klotzy, I don't care about fun and fun to watch. I'm not here. Hold on. I'm not here to have fun watching. I'm here to win football games. This Lions team is built in the trenches offensively. Give me Tate Ratledge. If you had to give me one breakout player that I'm guaranteed going to work out, going to be an all-pro player, Tate Ratledge. Keep that offensive line at that level.
The question that was asked was, which would you rather see? And I'm answering you with Tyleek.
Yeah,
I like it, man. Well, it's 8:30, so it's time to get to our guests. And he was kind enough to join the show. We appreciate him doing so. You guys know who it is, man. Former Detroit Lions linebacker, fullback, humanitarian. Now he's a broadcaster. He's getting into that now, which is going to absolutely crush. And fired up to have him, man, to get his thoughts on this whole thing. Please welcome to the show, Jason Cabinda. Jason, what's going on, my man?
What up, baby? How we doing?
Good. Number one, appreciate you for joining. You're the man, dude. You told us to reach out. We reached out. We got it scheduled. So appreciate that. But I want to ask you, now that we have you, and now we get to talk to you, you had one of the most viral moments of all time on Hard Knocks. You've been asked probably 1,000 times about it. But now that I have you, Jason, and you knew this was coming, my man. You knew it was coming.
Yeah, I did. I knew it.
You did. When you had that moment when you actually got to see Dan, now we know what Dan is today, but when he had his first press conference here and, it was the kneecaps and people, initially nationally were trying to diss the man for having so much passion. But when you see the Hard Knocks moment, you're there listening to Dan speak, and you kind of go through that moment itself and maybe your first impressions of Dan.
Yeah, I think that video really encapsulates a lot about who Dan Campbell is as a man. And I think, football is a heavy game emotionally. And, Dan was giving us a speech at that time, and he was talking about the type of team that we were going to be, the type of mindset we were going to have, how we were going to be the team that, drag the tougher teams into the deeper ends of the ocean and see who could tread water the longest, and how some teams were front runners and that they only do well in shallow water, and how we're going to be the toughest and the grittiest and smarter than other teams. And man, it don't take me much to get going, but that day specifically, man, I was fired the F up. I can't lie to you, man. I was fired up. I was just ready to play the next day. I think that was middle of training camp. But those are the types of things, in football, at certain points you really got to stay even keel, but there's a lot of times where you can play on your emotions. You can build that energy within yourself. And man, Dan has a really special ability, a really special talent to grab that out of you and really make you use it to the best of your advantage in games. He brings the best out of his players.
Jason, can I ask you this? I want to throw it out there. Favorite Dan Campbell story outside of that, because I've heard a lot of Lions players tell different Dan Campbell stories. It feels like, honestly, every Lions player that's been around Dan Campbell has a different one and a personal story with Dan. What is your favorite moment and story with Dan Campbell outside of that Hard Knocks moment?
Oh, that's funny. I was actually with a couple of guys a few weekends ago. I'm and Rod and Jared and them, and we were talking about this one moment that Dan had that I actually completely forgotten about. I don't know how I did, but one time we were in the locker room and we're having a team meeting. I don't remember exactly what Dan was talking about. You know, sometimes he does these little spiels like before we really get into business, and he might have just been in one of those spiels. And his tooth just falls right out of his mouth.
Oh no!
And Dan literally just bends over, picks up the tooth, puts it back in his mouth, and just keeps on going like absolutely nothing happened. And it was just one of the funniest things. They're just so Dan because like he doesn't care, man. He just goes and goes and goes, man. He's awesome. That's something else.
Hey, there's no denying, Jason, that Dan, he's beloved by the city, not only for moments like that, but just you can see the authenticity that he has and how he's so intense on wanting to make this football team so great. And between him and Brad, the culture's turned around. And as a Lions fan, I kind of got the hint that it was going to be going in the right direction when they selected Penei Sewell, because yes, it's not the sexy pick, but when you're taking a player like Penei Sewell, you're taking a Hall of Fame type of player that's going to be protecting your quarterback for the next 10 to 15 years. From your experience, especially playing fullback, you got to go hand in hand, Penei, especially when you guys are out in the open field, leading for the running back. What is it like playing with Penei, and what do you think makes him so good that he was so good so early?
Man, Penei is he's a really special athlete. Let me put that out there first. Like this dude is 6'6", 330 or whatever he is, and is just so nimble, has such quick feet. The athleticism is just off the charts at his size. And when you have that type of athlete playing that position with that type of size, that's just special period in the story. You can't just go down the street and find that. So let me start there. He's in terms of athletic ability at his size, generational. And then when you look at the attitude and the mindset that he brings to every play, like this is a dude that wants to finish guys in the dirt every single play, really expects the most out of himself and wants to be the best on the field, play in and play out. And that's what you want from your best players. But he's a really nasty offensive lineman. When you have somebody with that type of athletic ability, that type of strength, that type of skill, and have a killer mindset like he has, it's the type of stuff that makes you, when you're on the field with him at practice, like, God damn, I am so happy this dude's on our team. Like, there's really no other way to put it. Special player. He's a leader. That's one thing I saw out of Penei and saw him grow through the years is him beginning to really speak up and really take control of that O-line and being the guy, So I'm really proud of Penei, man. He's a great player and a great human being.
Jason, you have a unique perspective because you were part of two regimes here. I mean, you saw the bad and then you saw the good. And we don't have to dive into the whole Matty P days, but I do want to ask you though. You got to experience both regimes. In comes Dan, which we've asked you about, but in comes Brad Holmes and how he identifies talent. He's one of the best in the NFL at doing it. When did you kind of start to notice? Obviously with Dan, you're like, this is different. Like this guy's gonna be a great coach. But when did it click for you? Like, wait, this guy can find dudes consistently. When did you start realizing like we got a GM, boys?
Oh, I mean, you just look at the drafts, and I think one of the biggest things I commend to Brad Holmes and Dan, really both of them, is that they would never sacrifice the culture of the locker room, the attitude of the team, and who we were gonna be for any level of talent. Absolutely every single guy that came in the building, whether it was through the draft, whether it was through free agency, whether it was midseason trade, whatever it was, they were a fit for the locker room first. So they never sacrificed that vision. Because sometimes coaches talk like this and they make certain moves that kind of contradict the philosophy and contradict who we're trying to be. And Brad and Dan never did that, which makes them not only not only do you trust them and they're believable, it makes you want to play that much harder for them. And then when you look at the draft, you look at Panay, you look at Aiden Hutchinson, you look at Kirby Joseph, Brian Branch, Aleem McNeil. I mean, I could go down the list. Jamison Williams, Amon-Ra St. Brown, like on and on and on. Like, how about finding top talent, regardless of the space, regardless of, what round or whatever that they were picked in? Man, quality, solid players and great needs that really filled up and stepped up and are now leaders of this team while they're still young. And I think that's a really impressive thing that they've shown year in and year out. And, some people criticize their draft this year a little bit, but I think another thing I commend to Brad is the fact that he's always addressing needs of the team currently in this day and age. He doesn't have some cookie cutter, this is what I do, this and the third. Yes, he builds in the trenches. He likes quarterbacks that are mostly pocket guys that maybe can run a little bit, but can make all the throws. That's kind of been his deal. Good, fast defenses. But regardless of where they were, and especially in this draft, they filled what they needed. They got a couple of special teams guys that are going to be really good special teams guys. We went and got a really great guard in Tate Ratledge. I absolutely love that pick. I love the Giovanni pick. I think he fits that culture. He fits who they're trying to be from a mindset. Like, if you go watch that kid's tape from Boise State, like, this kid plays a game with his hair on fire. He just started playing. They know they're going to be able to bring that edge and get that fire at him because it's all still new. So I actually really liked their draft this year. And I felt like if you really analyze their team and where they're at position by position, each pick really makes sense. And that's what I love about Brad.
Now, I want to throw out there this, Jason. I've been this is the most excited I've been to ask any guest this question. You worked with Jared Goff for years, and side by side, you were behind him a lot. I have fought for Jared Goff for a couple of years now to gain respect around the NFL. And last year, as an MVP finalist, felt like he finally gained a little bit of respect around the league as a whole. Can you talk about what Jared Goff does, not only just like in the building, on the field, with teammates, players, all of that, and then even kind of going a step further, obviously with Ben Johnson leaving and John Morton coming in, how Lions fans can feel a little bit comfortable still having kind of Jared Goff in that position, leading this team. I mean, back-to-back years or even 3 straight years having a top 5 offense behind Jared Goff. Can you talk about who he is as a player, a person, and what he can do continuing without Ben Johnson?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I really love JG's story. I love the adversity he's overcome. I mean, it's really, really awesome. I mean, you guys know it. It was kind of spelled out before our Rams game back in 24. Former number 1 overall pick with the Rams, takes him to the Super Bowl, doesn't work out, gets shipped off to Detroit, where everybody thinks is like the place where you die. He struggles his first year, but like, Jared is such a guy that week in, week out, year after year has been completely even keeled about his entire process. And that's what I love about him. Didn't matter if he was playing well, not playing well, whatever the case is, he was always a leader and he always went about his business. And I think that first year was tough, kind of getting acclimated to Detroit and playing here and then new system, this, that, and the third. But man, this is a guy that has gotten better and better year in and year out. He was now entering year 9, year 10 now. And he's in, you can very quite arguably say, his prime. There aren't a lot of guys in the NFL who play year 9, year 10 and are playing in their prime. And at the quarterback position, that is a level of play that you can kind of keep extended for longer than other positions. And that's what I love about it. You look at 37 touchdowns, a career high from last year, 72% completion percentage, career high for him. He had 12 picks. 5 of them came in 1 game. I mean, he had like 1 bad game last year.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, why are we not talking about this guy as an MVP candidate going into next year? I mean, 15-2 in the regular season, NFC North with authority. Are you kidding me? The Detroit Lions, like, the story is a whole lot bigger than people are making it right now. So I love JG. He's such a good leader. And like I said, he's always even keeled. And that's another thing about him that I saw grow a lot is the vocal aspect of it, the taking control aspect, and, learning to kind of have your hand on the temperature of the team in different moments, when it's time to, get guys fired up, when it's time to calm everybody down. He has a really good feel for those kinds of things, and you need that type of stuff out of your leader, especially a leader of the offense, the quarterback, man. I love JG's game, and I think he's going to have another really big year next year. You talked about Johnny Moe, and I don't think they're going to change a whole lot, man. When it ain't broke, you ain't got to fix it. So yeah. I think Johnny Moe is going to come in there, make a few adjustments, but really keep JG comfortable. And the great thing about Johnny Moe is he's already been in the building. He knows the operation. He knows how Ben did things. He knows that he's not going to want to tinker too far off to kind of mess up the heartbeat of the offense, which obviously was the start of the team last year. So I think the Lions fans can feel really good. Obviously, Ben is super creative. He's freaking ballsy. I love him. There's going to be some elements, some things that maybe we take a step back from, but overall, I think this offense has a ton of talent and has everything that it needs to go out there and win the NFC North again.
And Jason, we've been picking your brain about Lions players. We just spoke about JG. We asked you about Panay. You spoke about Johnny Moe, Dan Campbell, Brad Holmes. But I want to ask you, when playing inside the NFC North, was there a player within the NFC North, not on the Lions, when you had to go up against him, you're like, gonna be a long day. Might have to buckle up the chin strap a little extra. Like, we got Chicago this week. We got Green Bay this week. We got Minnesota this week. Who was a player that obviously loved playing football? You're a fullback. You have to love the game to play the fullback position. But who was a guy that just made your life hell on a Sunday?
Man, that's a great question. I think those years that I was there, that Khalil was there in Chicago, man, Khalil Mack was a absolute problem. I remember one Chicago game, we had 11 personnel, one running back, one tight end, personnel set. It was like an 11 Cabinda, just for that week where I would be the Y, where we were trying to force a defense into base personnel. And, based on the formation we had 4 plays we could get into. JG was kind of tech with me at the line of scrimmage. And he picked one of those 4 plays dependent on the look of the defense, on the field. And the one that we ended up going with was a zone run where I'm in line at tight end right in front of Khalil Mack. And I just had this moment before the snap. Like, you guys know, I came in the league as a linebacker and then I'm moving to fullback, plays a little bit of tight end, a little bit of running back, a little bit of kind of everything. So
utility.
Some positions, that maybe I wasn't used to it. I didn't necessarily want my forte. And I had literally just a zone drive block on Khalil Mack. And I held my own, but it was like, my goodness, how did I get here to this stage in my career? I was about to one-on-one straight just zone block from the inline tight end, Khalil Mack on the line of scrimmage. So Khalil was a problem, man. Super, super powerful, super explosive, physical, and fast, man. He really had it all, man. Just a dude with a ton of juice.
Yeah, and Jason, I want to ask you just big picture, because it seems like, and you've been on shows nationally, so you've gotten to experience this, I'm sure, but the narrative now, and it happens every offseason, maybe it is Detroit kind of suffers this sometimes, but it's the regression, it's the, I've seen, how many 10-7s I've seen, Jason? I mean, 9-8, it's just disrespectful. It's disrespectful, and I want to kind of get your side of things on, because I get, it happens in the NFL where teams can have great years, regress, new coordinators. People bring that up, why it's concerning. But in your mind, what makes this team different? Why do you not see that type of regression, even in a tough division that maybe some of these national programs see?
Well, I'll say 2 things. Number one is that I think for the most part, we didn't really lose any pieces from last year's team that I feel like were absolutely crucial to the success of the team. So that's number one. We're really young. We got a ton of guys still on rookie contracts. And no Curb just got paid. Panay and Amon-Ra got paid, which they should have. But for the most part, we really have kept our pieces from last year. I think that's super important. I think we upgraded a little bit in the draft at a couple of positions, and we're preparing for some things. But for the most part, I think you look at the 11 on the offensive side of the ball, the 11 on the defensive side of the ball from a starting standpoint, and feel really, really good. So that's number one. And then number 2 for me is really not about Detroit, really about the rest of the NFC North. You look at the Bears. Yeah, we're excited about Ben Johnson, but it's Ben Johnson in year 1. Caleb Williams coming off a rookie year where he looked absolutely awful, terrible body language, getting off the ground slow, an O-line that wasn't helping him out a ton. They're going to have their growing pains. It's not just all going to click just like that. Then you look at the Minnesota Vikings, and it's like, okay, everything looks great on paper, but it kind of seems like it's all going to come down to J.J. McCarthy and how he plays at quarterback.
Yeah.
They look like they're all in, putting all the money in, and, man, if this works out, it's going to work out, but you still don't know. He had a rookie year. We didn't get a ton of reps. He was hurt. He ended up having a regression in his, recovery. We don't know how many reps he's really gotten. Is this going to be a rookie year number 2 for him, or is this going to truly be a second year? I'm making the sophomore jump, even though we didn't see a ton of reps in the rookie year. So there are just question marks there. And you look at the Packers, you like them, but you don't love them. And we saw that at the end of the year last year, how they kind of broke down. I just think the Lions still have their number. So I think, yes, it has a bit to do with us, but I also believe it has a lot to do with the rest of the division, why we're going to have success this year.
Hey, Jason, I just want to ask a final question. It kind of popped in my head because you were in different rooms in Detroit, and new DC Kelvin Shepherd was in the building while you were there. Can you talk about Kelvin a little bit? Because I feel like that's I know everyone talks about the Ben Johnson, Johnny Moe, and that because the offense was top 5. But, like, this defense getting everyone back with Hutch and, like, that defense now being healthy and adding pieces. And you had Kelvin Shepherd as the DC now. And we all loved AG. I think, and I actually, 2 or 3 years ago, we did a show with Lucas, who's on our show, and he actually was pushing out there saying the next DC of the Detroit Lions will be Kelvin Shepherd, like 3 years ago. And it happened. Can you talk about Kelvin Shepherd and his kind of growth in that building and now being the DC and how he'll do this next season?
Yeah, man. How about Shep? I mean, the growth of Shep over the years that I've seen, them just continuing to give him more and more roles and more to chew on. And the way he's handled it, he's really been groomed for the position, man. And the way he's taken advantage of his opportunities, the way he had the linebackers playing over these past couple of years, despite injury. I mean, Malcolm Rodriguez, Alex Anzalone, Derek Barnes in development, all of those aspects. He's done a really, really good job. And I think, one, he's a player, and he was a dog as a player, and he's a dog just as a man, period, end of story. So you're going to bring that dog out of you. He brings the juice every single day. We saw a little bit of that in the Hard Knocks when you saw kind of the way he interacted with the linebackers and the way he motivated these guys, like using Malcolm Rodriguez to the vets. Like he wasn't afraid to tell the vets, like, look, if this rookie outplays you, I'm playing him. I don't care. And that's what you need. That's how you get the best out of everybody in the room. And I think that's one of his best traits, man. He gets the best out of everyone. And I'm really, really excited to see Kelvin Shepherd kind of take that next step and really take advantage of this opportunity to see how this Lions defense plays this year.
And Jason, we've been talking a lot about the NFL, but I want to switch it up because as a Lions fan, it was fun to watch this year. And you probably don't know this, but I'm a resident Ohio State Buckeyes fan. So college football season this year was just amazing. It was, I'll tell you, losing to Michigan was tough, but winning that natty, winning the first team of 4 playoff,
come on.
And now the expanded bracket, Ohio State, they just keep doing it. But this offseason, I'm hearing about Penn State and how they're the team to beat this year in college football. What do you expect out of your Penn State Nittany Lions, Jason?
Yeah, man, we can bet 100 push-ups right now that Penn State wins the NAT next year.
I'll take you up on that. I can do a smooth 60 right now. By the end of the season, I might be able to work up to 100. We can lay the wager, though.
Yeah, I feel really, really good about this Penn State team. You're speaking of Ohio State. They go this offseason and go hire arguably the best defensive coordinator in college football in Jim Knowles from Ohio State.
Yep.
From Ohio State. You got Drew Aller coming back. He's going to be a first-round guy, big arm. He's only grown this season. I mean, year after year. And I really don't think they're going to ask him to do a lot next year. You still got Katron Allen. You got Nick Singleton. You might have the best offensive line you've ever had under Coach Franklin, period, end of story. All 5 returners starting this season. They've got an all-star cast in the backfield between Drew, Katron, and Nick. Obviously, the big question mark is wide receiver. That was a question mark last year. 0 receptions in the Orange Bowl. But you look at Kyron Hudson from USC, who's coming in, 50-50 guy, possession receiver, runs good routes. You look at this guy we brought in from Troy, the little receiver, the slot. He's got some juice to him, too. He's a yak guy, as well as a couple of freshmen I think are going to make moves this year. So I think we're going to be good there. I think we're solid at tight end. Like, the defense is going to be the defense. I talked about Jim Knowles, but, you got Denai Dennis Sutton, Zakeem Wheatley. You got A.J. King on the outsides. Like, we got some guys. So I'm feeling really, really good about this team, and I just feel like it's their moment. I really do, and I think Drew's going to lead them all the way.
Yeah, you better get in there right with that weight room, Klotz. I'm telling you.
I'm
better
telling
get
you,
in
Rob.
there.
That thing's about to pound this
Jeremiah
rock.
Smith and Caleb Downs. I trust in them. They'll carry us to the promised land again.
I know all of you guys heard of Bryce Underwood here in
this
Michigan.
guy,
I'm just
yeah,
gonna
well,
throw that
this-
out
I-
there.
I'm telling you, this
Let's
guy-
relax. Your coach isn't going to be on the sideline.
Rookie.
Yeah, I'm telling you, dude. Hey, you know what?
He didn't look that hot in the Amazing Blue game. I'll say that. He had one
Hey,
little trick play just so they could feel good about him, like so he
Hit
can
the
show off a
momentum.
little something.
He'll get there. Hey, Michigan. Hey, they're gonna get right. They'll be ready.
Hey,
be
Jason
ready.
came with the smoke, man. I love it. Jason, we appreciate you, man. We appreciate the hell out of
Appreciate
it.
you
We root
guys.
for you. Thank you for everything you've done for the city of Detroit, and good luck on everything in your personal life, my man. You're gonna crush.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Absolutely. Hey, if you guys ever want to catch a little bit of golf and NFL players, man, I got the Fairway Huddle Show on YouTube, man. I'm
There you
on
go.
episode 6 now. We got a ton of NFL
on.
guys coming in, getting into real personal, real life conversations, locker room talk, the inside scoop that, not a lot of you guys get to hear. So tune into Fairway Huddle, man. I also got a documentary on Penn State's 2016 Big Ten championship team coming out post college football season. The turnaround that focuses on Penn State's turnaround from the sanctions that happened back in 2012 and where the state of the program was at, how we overcame with the Saquon Barkley's, Marcus Allen's, Jason Cabindas of the world. It's going to be awesome, man.
Hey, Jason, I wanted before you go, you golf, man. You're big into golf.
I am.
I'm over here. I'm trying to break 100.
Yeah,
all right?
he's
I'm
working on it.
I've missed 2 putts over the last 3 weeks to break 100. Bad ones. What are you shooting right now?
I'm like 87 to 92 kind of guy right now, plus 14.
So damn. So he's
Better than all of us.
Yeah, he's better than all of us. All right, you know what,
I'm
man?
solid. I'm catching up quick. I ain't gonna lie. I've been golfing my butt off. Like I'm a member.
We got to get out on
We
got to get out on the links at some point when you're back in Michigan here.
Yeah,
absolutely. Let's do it. We'll hit Shepherd's Hollow. Yeah, we'll hit Shepherd's Hollow.
Let's do it.
Yeah, that's a good one. Hey, you take care, Jason. We appreciate you, man.
All right, man. Appreciate y'all.
Appreciate it, Jason.
Jason Cabinda joining the program, talking to the fellas, man, taking time out
Awesome guys, man.
out of his
He was
busy
awesome.
schedule. Yeah, he's a real one, super down to earth guy. I mean, he's
Great
pretty much
dude, man.
everything I expected, which is just.
Hey, we got to get out of the links with him too. We got to do like a little series out there with Jason Cabinda golfing.
Damn, he's in the 80s, low 90s.
Yeah.
Damn. He's
Got
getting
some
it,
catching
man.
up to do, Tiger.
87, dude. I'm sitting at like my best round ever, maybe like a 94, 93, I think. So I mean, I'm a little behind as well. So we gotta. We might have to do like a scramble. Me and Jeff or something versus Jason Cabinda.
Yeah.
This is single-handedly.
Yeah.
No, it'd have to be like you and it'd be me and Mike probably or something because Mike's probably the best. I don't know. We'd have to figure that out. If Mike,
I'll be on Jason's team, man. Someone in the 80s, I'll take it. Me and him.
Or
versus
maybe
you
I
and
gotta
Mike.
get thrown. If Jason's the best, I gotta get thrown because we gotta figure out how that because I'm the worst.
We'll figure
But
it
anyway.
out. That'll be fun though.
Hey,
That was a
appreciate
good though. I think there was a lot of good things about like, especially like the Shep thing. I completely, I don't know why I didn't wrap my head around it until mid interview that Jason was in the building in 2022 with John Morton and Jared Goff and like as that offense is getting built. So to hear like another player, like the confidence of that, like, hey, this offense can get to or stay where it's at. And you know what I love the most out of all of this? Him saying, hey, Jared Goff needs to be in the MVP conversation, not from last year, but this year. It's like the disrespect of him not being in that this year is kind of mind-boggling. You guys know where I stand on that. I've been on that. I've
on your hill.
That's been my thing forever. It's like, I don't care who's the OC. That man, he said it, and I've never heard anyone actually say it, but Brad Holmes loves his quarterbacks that can sit in the pocket and make every single throw. He doesn't care about the guys that can get around a little bit, but makes all the throws.
Yeah,
that's his guy. JG.
He had Amani Awari on his show, and he talked to Amani about Matty P. And I didn't want to dive into Matty. I just feel like it's just
touchy subject.
Yeah, at some point it's just beating a dead horse. And that's actually he got a lot of traction because he posted the clip with Amani, and then all the former Lions.
I saw Slay. I saw a bunch of people.
Slay and all these guys were like, yeah, like because they were talking about Slay with the Matty P and how Odell he started playing like Odell cooking them on the big screen in front of the whole team or whatever. Just an absolute asshat. And now we have Dan Gamble, so that's awesome.
And now he's the OC at Ohio State.
Yeah.
That's your guy now. That's why that's a tough. And you know what? I think that's a big
dunk on you with that.
That's what I was thinking. Big
you know?
regression, to be honest, because your guys' DC before very good. To go
That's
to
why,
Matty
like,
P is tough.
I don't know why I said OC, but either way, I think Ohio State, they'll be a top 10 team, but they ain't winning no Natty this year. They ain't doing it.
He's
They'll be
out.
good.
He's out now.
I'm interested in the Penn State thing. I see where he's coming from. Like Penn
On
State,
paper,
they're going to be top 5 again, and they're going to have a chance. He's one of those teams. I'm telling you, boys. When they get to that Final Four, when they get to that big game, Jeff, what do you say all the time? I gotta see it.
You gotta see it.
I gotta see it. Have not seen it yet.
If you're looking right now, I think at like all the college football teams, I think on paper, like if everything was to be the best for all these teams, I think Penn State and Clemson, I would say probably the best teams in college football right now. I just think that Clemson, especially on the defense side of the ball, Penn State's always going to be like that, but adding Jim Knowles, and they just have so much experience. That's what Ohio State had going for them last year. So much experience.
You better hope that experience.
Wolverines aren't even in the conversation, so we can leave it there for that.
Oh, yeah, until they are.
Yeah,
We hear this every year. They're not in the conversation until they are.
Were they this year, Boone?
Doc said, I'm him. What changing podcast? Get ready. 9 p.m. We'll kick off.
Doc's hilarious. I did, by the way, I text Doc and said we'll probably be done before 9 if you want to hop on at 9. So I sent him the link for 9.
Yeah, I can't wait to talk
9:15.
to him, man, because I told the Doc, I said, we're going to get you some stories from Cabinda somehow, some way. We'll try and get some.
I think there was some interesting stuff.
Yeah, he had a lot of good quotes in there. But yeah, we'll get to talk to the Doc. We got OTAs. I mean, we got obviously everything from the Cabinda interview that if anything we want to talk about. And John, I'm fired. I love that man. He's gonna be good today. We don't move the Doc back for just anybody.
And if we do, like he might say it doesn't, but I know Doc. Doc doesn't like that. I know, that's his time slot.
To be fair,
Doc time.
He doesn't mind, but it better be a good guess because I texted him today and said, "Hey Doc, can you do after 9, like after your normal time?" And he doesn't even. He knows right away that means we have someone else, and the only thing he says is, "Who is it?" And I
love Doc.
And I text back.
Like,
I said,
said
Jason Cabinda. And he goes, okay, that's a good one. All right, I'll see you. He said, I'll see you at 9:15. He said 9:15, 9:45. See you then. Like, there was no question there. He was like, all right, you're good.
Yeah, we don't move the Doc back for just anybody.
I think that's fair. That's fair.
We've only moved the Doc back twice.
What?
One was for Trey Wingo, and the other was for Jason Cabinda. So it's like Doc understands for those two. But it takes a pretty. It
Doc
takes
after Trey Wingo came.
Doc has a what's it called in what is it called in Vegas when you have like a he has a residency on this show, and his residency is every week Wednesdays at 8:45, and it doesn't move. And there's special like his anniversary. He knows his residency. He texts us, boys, I have an anniversary this week. Can't do it. Got to shut the residency down for a week. Deal. Good.
Oh yeah. He joined us that Friday, which again, Doc's never missed a show.
He said, "Who is it?"
He's never missed a week. I think we might be on a we've been going for 14, 15 months now.
Yeah, you can't.
He
count
has
the anniversary,
not missed a week. He hasn't missed a week.
The anniversary you can't count because that was fair. But he hasn't missed a week. Yeah, you're right. He's never missed a week. Well, he's actually waiting. All right, this guy. We just want to make sure he doesn't have.
Before we get the Doc on, can I get you guys' last thoughts on it, Jason? Was there anything on the Cabinda interview that you guys were like pumped up, shocked about, like the way he said, anything like that?
Like the Shep stuff.
Yeah, the Shep stuff's probably the big. That was the big one. The
Dan stuff. Campbell tooth, that was a good one.
The tooth thing. That's that one. I made sure to make sure we can get that in a reel like as soon as possible.
Dan's tooth falling out is the craziest thing all the time.
That's a goated one. He had a lot of good stuff in that one, man. I mean, he did. What a great guy. Honestly, a great guy. I root for that guy. He's going to do some great things in broadcasting.
I'm pumped up. Hopefully we get him back on. Maybe during the season we can get him on.
Let's bring on our guest, the absolute GOAT of local Detroit sports, publishing and writing, podcasting, The guy can do it all. He's a Swiss Army knife. Detroit Lions on
Renaissance
Sports
man.
Illustrated. The publisher, our good friend, Mr. John Maakaron, the Doc. How we doing, Doc?
Thank you, guys. That was real nice. Yeah, I why would I miss? This is a great time. I love Wednesdays. It's a time to check in with the fellas. I thought your guys' interview was great. All right, Booner, I teed you up. I told you guys I was coming in with a bang. Okay, so I woke up this morning and my algorithms are crazy. I don't know what it is that I've been looking up. What kind of things you guys in the chat think I look up in the morning? So I look up and I check Twitter. Booner, please prop up what I came across this morning. And
I don't have it. I didn't know you wanted that on the show, Doc. That was a wild tweet to send me. You didn't even give me context. You just sent me a tweet.
You can't pull up a tweet from your phone or from the computer?
I can't. You sent me multiple tweets. Which one did you want? You sent me these with zero context. Oh, no, you did say pull this tweet up after I come in hot.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
You sent it to me while I'm talking to Jason Cabinda.
No
Pull it up.
problem.
Let's
No
see it.
problem. Take your time.
Oh,
I'm
this is
the very first thing I saw this
unbelievable.
morning. This is a maturity test. Okay. And then we're going to talk about OTAs and all the good things.
No
My job
way,
is to get
Doc.
everybody to like this video. I'm going to blow this interview out of the water to make sure everyone reminds everybody that the Doc is a
Doc?
legendary. Okay. Now, the chat is now looking at this. This is the first thing I see this morning. Okay. And I'm a 46-year-old man who is not mature. So wait, don't wait, go back up. The key thing here is her name. How do you say her name when you see that? Because I came across that. I woke up my whole family because I'm like, why is Haley McAnally on my computer? Haley McAnally. And I said, wait a minute, that's not what her name can be, right? I read all the comments and I'm like, that's not how her name should be pronounced. And so I messaged her and I said, your name is not Haley McAnally, is it? And she's like, of course not. And she said, it's McConnelly. So if you're awake, and this is a maturity test to start the week, if you read that as Haley McAnally, you are not mature like the Doc, and you're in the wrong group. But that's what came across this morning. And she is a very bright young lady, but she is taken, she is struggling because of that last name. But I came across that. I sent it to my friends, and I said, I am not mature to be doing this in life. And that is where I was at this morning, fellas. So in the chat, you can, share it and test your friends on what you guys think regarding her name, because you guys are laughing.
I can stop laughing in 5 minutes. I don't know.
Doc, hand up, Doc. I read McAnally.
Okay.
I mean, the Doc saying I messaged her might be one of the wildest moves in internet history, to be like, I woke up at 7 a.m. This came across my timeline and I shot her a message.
Exactly.
Your last name McAnally.
Because she did comment on it. She has commented on the fact that people are giving her crap for that last name. So that's how I woke up. I laughed hysterically because I cannot stop saying it. I cannot say it the proper way. I'm immature. That's why I get like 50 grow up messages a week. Now, to transition to OTAs, I can see.
Let's see this.
Doc. There's no transition from that right now.
Okay, good. I lit it up. Let's go.
Hey, Flair said, I mean, come on, Flair. She's had it right the first time, and it don't matter. She about to have my last name. I mean, guys. Okay. All right, go ahead, Doc.
Yeah, no. I listen, give her a follow. I think that she's a quality follow from the 2 minutes I spent checking out her content there, and her maturity and her graduation. It's great. Now, going to transition to OTAs, I could see now why a guy like Stefon Diggs didn't want to go to OTAs. Maybe that's why Alex Anzalone doesn't want to come to Lions OTAs. Booner, the second thing that I sent you as well, did you guys see Stefon Diggs living his best life out there on the boat with Cardi B, and the chaos that caused online for the whole world regarding what that pink content was? What was it? People were throwing out names I've never heard of. And I said to myself, why would any veteran show up to OTAs when you can hang out on a boat and party with 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 women and have a good time? Why on earth would you show up? If you're Alex Anzalone, why are you have boat parties? I would be like, listen, I would work my tail off my first couple years in the league and be like, I'm not coming to OTAs. I'm having boat parties. And then the funny part is now his new coach, Mike Vrabel. If you're Mike Vrabel, if you get the tweet, Booner, it's funny. Mike Vrabel has to stand there on the first day of OTAs and be like, address the question. Mike, did you see your player kind of hanging out with that pink stuff? And he's like, we encourage all our players to engage in proper behaviors. Meanwhile, there's like 35 ladies having a good time. What is the value of OTAs when you could come and hang out on a boat? I'm looking at it like, if you're Alex Anzalone, Amon-Ra St. Brown, you got $30 million a year. I'm like, I'm not coming. I work out. I'm not coming to Detroit. Why would I spend a weekend in Detroit when it's raining on a Wednesday, when you can hang out on a boat in Miami and party like that? You're Stephon Diggs. You're with a new team and you're going to do that. I look at it like, you know what? I want to start hanging out on some boats if that's what goes on, because I'm not a boat guy per se, but I could be transformed into one. I saw, and I thought, now, does anybody in the chat who indulges, what was that pink stuff? Was that the nasty things that people were saying it was? A lot of the content creators were like, it's really bad stuff. Some stuff people were like, it's just this thing. I don't know. That's not in my area of expertise.
Doc, that's the Diddy powder. That's what that is.
The Diddy powder. Now, the part that I can't get over in the whole thing is because that could fall into something where I would do it. Not in my current form as a 46-year-old, but if I was an athlete, the part of that video that I broke down the most was, what are you going to call me? And she's looking at what? What do you mean? She's like, he looks at her and he's like, what's my name? And she's sitting there, hemming and hawing a couple of seconds. She's like, okay, daddy, give me what I need. And I'm sitting there going, yes, watch the video. He's like, call me daddy. And that's what exactly she did. And I was just like, that's what millions and millions will get you. Just Stephon Diggs is daddy in the Mac Daddy world of athletes, and he's not at OTAs. Jesus. So what's really the value? What's really the value of OTAs when veterans are not there? You got look at today to bring it full circle. Myles Garrett's in Japan taking photographs. You got Aaron Rodgers, who supposedly is going to be on a team, teasing where he's going. He's not showing up. So long story short, OTAs are hilarious in regards to the voluntary nature. I think they should be mandatory at this point in time. I think my whole thesis is the non-voluntary nature makes for very fun videos that tend to pop up online where these guys are at instead of OTAs.
Well, Doc, okay, there's a lot to unpack. Let's go back to earlier this week before Stephon Diggs had the Diddy powder, all that stuff. All right, let me ask you about the Lions. They signed Zach Cunningham. It ties into the Alex Anzalone thing because he's a veteran linebacker. He's not this world beater linebacker, Doc. And they cut another linebacker when they signed him. But is there anything to look into? Is it maybe Malcolm? Like Boone brought up Malcolm taking a long time to return, maybe with the ACL injury. What do you make of the signing? And can you clarify that it has nothing to do with maybe Anzalone not being at OTAs?
You guys think Alex Anzalone's holding out? He wants to quit the Lions? Do you guys think that?
I don't think yet. I'm panicking, Doc, but I think as time goes on, if I'm Anzo, I'm not playing on 1 year left. There's no way. I'm not playing on 1 year left. So
okay,
I wouldn't hate him if he did. I wouldn't be mad.
Well, my trusted sources tell me Alex Anzalone was on that boat with Stephon Diggs. And he was having
I trusted it. And the people don't know that was a joke.
Okay,
that was a joke from the doc.
Okay, no, I'm kidding. I am not aware of the whereabouts. I did try to get Alex Anzalone to talk to me, but it did not work out today because I do think that people are panicking. Where's Alex? Well, he's probably in Florida, hanging out, working out, doing his thing. And I don't think we're going to expect to see him at Detroit Lions OTAs this Friday. But look, Zach Cunningham, I think, is a guy low risk signing that has experience with the Eagles and Broncos. Problem is the last couple of years, not the most productive. They're probably taking a flyer on a depth player. But if you can get anything out of him, get anything out of the veteran over 30 years old, he's not a replacement for Alex Anzalone. Anzalone will report to training camp. I would be shocked if Anzalone is a holdout. in any capacity. That's the ultimate distraction that would result in so many articles and YouTube videos and discussions about the disruptions and questions to Dan Campbell. I just think that Cunningham is a safe signing because you guys know Malcolm Rodriguez is a player that is rebounding from a significant injury, and you need some bodies there. Now that is a packed linebacker room, but the more competition, the better. And the Detroit Lions, definitely, you guys know, if they see a player that they think can fit and has an opportunity to maybe even make the team, it's a good signing.
Yeah, Doc, I do want to ask you, because since we've had you on last week, the press conferences happened with some of the players, and especially the biggest one to me that came out of it was the Aiden Hutchinson one, and him coming out and basically saying, "Hey, I've been fully cleared for a little while now. It's not just this week. It's been a little bit." What did you take away from that? And one conversation we had on the show was, even though he's fully cleared, do we feel like the Detroit Lions are going to have him going 100% over the next few weeks? Do you think that they're still going to hold him back a little, let this injury, no setbacks, things like that? What are your thoughts on the whole Hutch situation right now?
It's good to see him, right? It's good to see him out there. It's good to see him doing individual drills. Definitely everyone caught the attention of him wearing the leg sleeve, but I do think that his progress will be steady, and no better situation for the 5 weeks off will be taken advantage of than from Aiden Hutchinson. After the 2 weeks of OTAs, then there's a 5-week break that the Lions are going to get, and the players will get to work and have an opportunity to rehab and things like that, and without having to worry about practices. So Dan Campbell did a good thing. He's going to give the full allotment of time off. That will definitely help the players to rebound, relax, get in the books. It's good to see Aiden, right? It's just a good feeling. But the next step is really for him. It's not on the field, it's off the field. It's just going to be about how much is that guy going to get paid? And I can't wait to see the number. Christian has done a couple of articles on Lions on SI to kind of give the range. He thinks it's not going to be 40. He thinks around 37.5. I'm a little bit more in line with Brad Holmes, thinking that, you reward your guys and you just say, hey, 5 years, $200 million, and you make it $40 million. You tie Myles Garrett and you make this guy happy. But also, I'm entertaining those that are messaging and saying, hey, Doc, pump the brakes. Maybe we got to see what he looks like out there on the field first before you allocate that much money. But I just have a hard time, based on what I saw on the field over the last couple of years, thinking that the Lions won't get value out of paying Aiden Hutchinson. I think he's an amazing defensive end. He's the guy that Brad Holmes loves, and that's why he's not getting anybody else, even though everybody here in town wants another defensive end. He's the guy that everybody respects. So I just think you pay him. You lock him up for the next 5 years, and you make him a staple of your defensive line. You build this football team around him.
Doc, I think another interesting storyline that I don't think is being talked about enough right now, and it's kind of the same situation with Aiden Hutchinson, but another player in Derek Barnes. How's his rehab process kind of coming along? And I don't know, I wasn't able to look. Was he out there today? And if he was, how is he kind of looking?
Yeah, well, what's funny is everybody on earth was posting all the photos. We collected all the photos that were put from you guys and everybody else. He was out there, and it's a good sign. It's a very good sign. I think by all accounts, he was expected to make a full recovery and be out there for organized team activities. I think that was the goal. So I do think that hopefully on Friday we'll get a chance to see him move and do his thing. But he was out there. Photo of Derek Barnes, Christian, I believe, tweeted it out there as well, the video. And it's a good sign. I think that the recovery time should be in a spot where he should be available. And it's a good sign because of the fact that Derek Barnes is an emerging leader, an emotional leader. Saw him get into some scraps at training camp last year, and his season was cut short. But if he can continue to develop his ability to rush the passer, he's a guy that you can put on the edge. Is a great Sam linebacker, one of the rare ones on the roster that can kind of do whatever Kelvin Shepherd wants. Can do a couple different things, good and decent as a pass rusher, can get on the line and also do his thing as a linebacker, and is a great tackler. So I would love to see the development of Derek Barnes this year. It'll make the linebacker group even better, along with Jack Campbell and Alex Anceloni.
And Doc, Lee McNeil, he was quoted the other day saying that his leg feel he's going to come back stronger. He's ready to get back. He's fired up about it. When you talk about this, just kind of this defensive line, the interior with Aleem coming back, and in your mind, what do you think would be a fair kind of expectation for Aleem to get back? And then when do you expect, just the opinion, Doc, for him to look like himself? And when he does, what are you expecting out of Lee McNeil? Now he's gotten paid. I get he's coming off an injury, but we're talking post-injury. He's back to feeling somewhat 100%. What kind of Lee McNeil are you expecting to see, or do you want to see?
Yeah, absolutely. And then to the comments, absolutely right. He was never going to be ready for the Super Bowl. It's just put that to bed. He would never have been ready. He would have risked further injury. Dan Campbell would have never put him in that position. It would have never happened for Aiden Hutchinson. Now, moving forward with Lee McNeil, yeah, your colleagues there are definitely finding these athletes all over town. It's good in regards to getting a quick update, but we really had already spoke to DJ Reader, and he had a funny comment. He's like, what do you think's going on with Lee McNeil? The man's rich. He's very happy. He's working hard. And so that's all the players. And here's the thing. Players typically aren't going to walk up to any camera, especially with a bowl of popcorn, and be like, man, my rehab is going like crap. You know what I mean? They're always going to say, I'm working hard. I'm going to be strong as ever. It's the same comment over and over. So what more reporters like to get into is their mindset, who they talk to get back at it, what kind of work they do. It's all very similar in regards to he's working hard. I wouldn't expect him back before week, probably after the bye week. Nothing before the bye week, which is perfectly slated for the Detroit Lions. So hopefully he comes back. But most people, when you look at the nature of that injury, 2025, if you can get anything productive out of Lee McNeil, is fine, but 2026 will be his true rebound year.
Doc, I want to ask you, OTAs, you're going to be there Friday. Can you give the people, I know you did an article about it, or someone in your company did an article on it, guys to watch out for. Can you give a couple guys when you're there Friday that you're going to keep an eye on, and let's say some storylines for fans and people to keep an eye on, not just this week, but I know next week they're going for 3 days as well. Are there specific guys that you're going to be looking at?
Well, Booner, being that you
and
said
Hooker?
something that you said something to me on Monday that was intriguing, riled me up. I'm going to ask you this fair question.
What was that?
In regards to production, okay? I listened to the interview with Jason Cabinda, and right afterwards, you're able to pull up USA Today or my competitor and say, hey, look at this, and read the article to the people. When Doc comes on, you don't you leave me off of the list, including Jason Cabinda. Am I not worthy to be on the marquee with Jason Cabinda? And then it would appear to me that the stream that we're on, you could easily pull up my website and show the people the fine layout of this beautiful website and read some of these names. But since you chose not to produce the way you do for everybody else for the Doc, that's not a problem. Not a problem.
What is this, Doc? We use your articles all the time.
This is Boone, you just walked into an ambush.
Yeah, what is this? We use your hold on. We use your articles all the time. We pull your website up.
I'm talking about right now.
I'm asking you because you're on the show. I want to get straight from the source. I'm asking you. I don't want to pull it up. I want to ask you straight from the source, Doc.
Okay, but it's a fine article that was written today.
It was a great one. That's why I asked about it. Lines on SI.
Yeah, that's right. That's right, Booner. I'm just wondering
about
that's right. You know what? When I ask you questions going forward, Doc, I'm not gonna bring it back to people I'm gonna ask my own questions that have nothing to do with your articles then. Fair enough.
Listen, I think the chat said it perfectly. Be better, Booner. Produce at the highest level when the DOC's on.
We have never pulled an article up for anyone, Doc.
Oh, am I not special? Am I not drawing a lovely audience that's more than Jason?
You know what? Hey, Doc, I saw an article from another company, one of your rival companies, that was talking about players to watch out. Tim Twentyman, players to watch out for, and OTAs. I would want to know, hey, what are your players to watch out for these next few days, Doc?
Yes, no, in all seriousness, I am appreciative that you do check out the articles and highlight them. I'm just saying the production for me today, a little different when maybe you have a star on. I'm just wondering, but I will answer the question. Lots of players, Booner, that we're excited to check out. First and foremost, Hendon Hooker. We want to see how the young quarterback looks out there. You want to see, has he progressed? How's his accuracy? How's the zip on the football? Kyle Allen, I want to see him compete and make it maybe a competition at training camp. So the quarterbacks, no doubt about it. The rookies, we all want to see Ahmed Hassanin. the beast out there, the guy that has drawn the attention of everybody, that the young defensive end. We want to see his development, his work out there, his individual drills, what he can do when he's battling the Lions offensive line. Lots of players. I think that is very intriguing for a lot is the offensive line. I think one of the most intriguing storylines is who's going to line up where. Is Tate Ratledge going to be at right guard? Is he going to take some snaps at center? Mahogany, where's he looking? If Frank Ragnow's there, how's he also looking? So a lot of players that are going to be very intriguing. But I think the one marquee guy that everybody I think wants to see is J-Mo. I want to see him fly. I want to see him at least on a couple reps, turn on the jets and do his check out his footwork, see how he looks out there at practice. So I'm excited to be out there, man. I even though some guys want to hang out on boats with their friends, I definitely am not going on vacation. I love doing these interviews. I love making fun of Booner, which is not that difficult anymore, but it's still fun to do and still get out there and cover the NFL, even though it's a long year and we're nearing the end before the 5-week break. But in the end, man, it's great. Friday football time, baby.
Boone, anything to say before I go?
No, I just want the Doc. Hey, Doc, put some tweets in your articles. Huh? Why don't you sometime? I'm just kidding. I'm sorry.
Booner.
I saw some things on Twitter. That's on me.
Actually,
I shouldn't joke around.
Booner. See, this is clear. And
That
guys,
was a joke. You know that was a joke.
I'm not going to talk to Booner because Booner did exactly what the person he referenced did when we had a little spat online today. Okay. There is an article on Lions on SI and it is called First Look. Okay. Which I probably can assume Booner did not check out because when you guys go click on it, chat, it features tweets from the established and the all-time great Crunch Time Sports.
Yeah, I already know. Doc, I open every single one of your articles, Doc.
The great work you do. And I don't need nobody to tell me who to reference. I said to my guy, "Hey, look for Booner. He does great work. Throw those tweets that he does out there in my article." So I don't have to do that, and I just do it humbly because you guys are great.
Doc, you know I love you.
Did you read that article, Booner? That one.
I open all of your articles.
Yes or no?
Listen, Doc.
Yes
when there's news like that, this one I did not read. I opened it, so you got to hold on. I opened it, so you got to click. I opened it. Hold on. I opened it, so you got to click. I scrolled down. I don't read it because I already know the news. I know Hutch with I know it all, but I do open every day. Listen, I run socials. I open yours and I go through every single day at the end of every night. I'm looking at your articles, Doc.
Thank you very much.
Doc.
Okay.
I can confirm.
I'm very happy to hear that.
Boone, Doc, Boone does go very heavy on Detroit Lions on SI all the time. He's like, "Hey, saw Doc wrote an article on this, puts in the show prep." So I can vouch for Boone, Doc. I can vouch for him. He's a good guy, okay? He's an earner for sure.
He's an earner. He's an earner.
But Doc, me and Boone, we did get, I wouldn't say in a big argument, but we had a discussion. I think it was a healthy discussion. I think as Detroit Lions fans, it's a good problem to have. And I know we spoke on Sam Laporta before, but now that we're seeing him 100% healthy in training camp, J-Mo we're going to be out starting to see. Out of those two, who do you think is going to be that second leading receiver? Because I don't think there's going to be 3 1,000-yard wide receivers. I don't think Amon-Ra, Laporta, and J-Mo all go over 1,000. I think 2 of them are. I think it's going to be Laporta. Boone said J-Mo, and I believe that Hefe did as well. Who do you think between those two is going to have the more productive year when you're talking about yards?
Yeah, no doubt. It's an interesting question, right? I've been getting that question quite a bit. Who's going to be the productive receiver outside of Amon-Ra St. Brown? But to your point, Booner, real fast, to go back to it real fast, thank you for checking it out. But to me, you guys know, based on the history, I have a lot of readers. That's not the value of the click to me is not that. I'd like you to check out the words that are printed on the page and the videos that are there. So yes, clicking on the story is amazing. And I'm humbled that you would even consider me in the mix. But the value, the A++ value for me with you guys is if you actually read it. because I could be prone to mistakes. You guys do realize I'm checking out Haley McAnally in the morning, so I could make a mistake. You could read the story. You
Doug,
could
real
read
quick,
the words.
you
that I
waking
put
your whole
out there,
family up
and
for
then
that?
text me if I make, hey, good article, Doc. Good job on this.
You're
Oh,
not
hey, you
cutting
messed
him
this
off,
up. You could have not put
No.
this in there. Or you say, hey, take this
He's
tweet
not a
out. We
parent.
don't want that out.
Yeah,
Listen,
stop.
read to achieve for everybody. Now,
You know what?
when you
Going
read
forward,
to
Doc,
achieve-
I will read and I'll give you feedback if that's what you want. If
Okay.
that's what you want, I will do that. As a friend, as a good friend of, I will do that for you.
Yes, please, please. It's now we've worked through Jeff, who probably still not reading the articles. Now Booner, read the articles. Lucas, I'll test you in a couple weeks during the break.
All
See
right.
if you're reading the articles. Yes,
Fair
read
game,
to
Doc.
achieve. That means the most to the DOC. Getting back to the offense, I do
Landing
think
the plane.
yes. Getting back to the offense, I do think J-Mo and Sam Laporta are the two guys that I think are just, it's hard to kind of look at and say, man, who's going to take the step forward again? Because both are really great players. I want them in the mix, as well as Jahmyr Gibbs. I love this offense. I just think that there's so many good mouths to feed. Amon-Ra clearly is going to get over 100 receptions, going to be the focal point. But this offense should really get back to Sam Laporta over the middle, because J-Mo is going to take the top off this defense. A lot of defenses, I expect him to get a lot of deep balls thrown his way. I expect the connection with Jared Goff to be stellar. So I'm expecting big things in that like 1,200-yard range for Jamison Williams. Sam Laporta, I just want him to be in that 800-yard range, a lot of touchdowns, a lot of red zone targets. I want J-Mo and St. Brown. I want J-Mo, St. Brown, Sam Laporta, and Jahmyr Gibbs, that foursome, man, to just get after it. And then you can mix in Tesla and Patrick later in the year as more red zone targets later and more options. You just pick your poison, man. It's just great. I think if you can stack your fantasy football team with Lions, I see a lot of points scored, a lot of touchdowns, a lot of receptions, a lot of offensive stats that could be even record breaking this year. It's such a great staple to have that I even think that they're going to make John Morton look like an amazing play caller with what they're capable of this year. It's just continuity. There's a lot of great players on that. The biggest question mark will be how the offensive line holds up. And that will probably be where the biggest eyeballs are going to be looked at in training camp is what's that offensive line? How does that offensive line protect Jared Goff? Because if they do, look out. Nobody can stop the Lions.
Well, Doc, Jason Cabinda, when he talked about it today, when we asked him about it, but Jared Goff being an MVP candidate, he needs more respect, he noted. But in your opinion, with the new offensive coordinator and John Morton, do you think Jared Goff for this year, even with the new OC, is being slept on? Or do you still have maybe a little, I don't know if concern's the right word, but hesitancy to put him as one of the MVP favorites, but someone that could be in that MVP conversation again? Do you see a path with the new OC here?
Yeah, no, John Morton, I think, is going to be, and I think the first quarter of the season, we'll get a sense of that first 4 games, how he's going to call play, especially in the division. When you call games against the Packers and the Bears, you look at Jared Goff and you say, okay, he's going to work hand in hand with John Morton to be able to have some control of this offense. I do think there's going to be a renewed spirit when he has his kid. I know you guys were checking out those photos as well. You see a guy that's relaxed, that has the world at his feet, hanging out, golfing, hanging out on a baby moon with his significant other, ready for his life change to take place. So I think his world will change. I think he'll have a renewed perspective, renewed passion. Jared Goff, I think, is a guy that you always can count on to be a productive player. I see growth. I thought that he would have peaked. You know, that's the area where I said, okay, when you're 27, 28 years old, I didn't think he could get better. Jared Goff can get better in this offense with John Morton. I do think that this offense is going to put a lot of points on the board. John Morton is going to call a good game. And Jared Goff, I think what's interesting is that he wants more control. He's hungry. I asked a couple of the assistants at the last media session, what's kind of Goff's mindset? And right now it's laser focused. It's Super Bowl and that's it. You know, Mark Brunell typically is tight-lipped. He actually opened up and said, Jared Goff is a singular focus kind of guy right now. He's done it all, and he's a guy that needs to win the Super Bowl. And I love to hear that kind of thing, and I think he's going to make John Morton – that whole offense is going to make John Morton and Dan Campbell look super smart.
Hey, Doc, I want to ask you, what are your expectations over the next few weeks with these rookie, especially offensive lineman, Tate Ratledge? Where do you see him kind of fitting into this whole situation? Do you think by the time OTAs are over that they feel like, hey, maybe Tate is in that spot over Graham? Or, if you're there Friday, what are you going to be looking for in that battle? And Graham as well, obviously, and Christian Mahogany. I apologize for not mentioning those two.
Yeah. It's the offensive line is amazing. It's a fun group that I think is going to be real talented and provide some real competition, in my humble opinion. I think that Tate Ratledge eventually is going to get a nice opportunity potentially to start, but I have to go with the incumbent until I see what Tate Ratledge does against great defensive linemen. You got to look at it. Coaches love veterans, and I've always looked at it like, if they kept Glasgow on the roster, they didn't cut him. If they, give him the opportunity to compete and he's healthy, he's shown, propensities. He has lost a training camp battle before. So I'm going to be real curious to see how that looks. But Tate Ratledge, I want to see, does he get snaps at center? If Frank Ragnow's not there, is it at right guard? I do think that the versatility that Ratledge brings makes him really a good candidate to be the right guard. And maybe you put Mahogany at left, if that's the case, if they do beat out Graham Glasgow. But going into it right now, I just look at it like you start with the incumbents. I believe that going into training camp, my initial depth chart would be along the starting offensive line would be Taylor Decker, and right next to him is Graham Glasgow. The center is Frank Ragnow. The right guard is Christian Mahogany, and the right tackle is Penei Sewell. But Tate Ratledge is right there. He's got to find a spot to be a guard. And if he does, if he showcases what a lot of people think, because again, he's going to go up against Levi Onwuzurike. He's going to go up against very talented. Even the guys on lower on the depth chart have some skill. So I do think Tate Ratledge, and don't forget about Miles Frazier. Let's not sleep on him. We're going to get a chance to see Giovanni Manu and Dan Skipper and those guys competing for spots as well. So the offensive line competition is the key story for a lot of people, and something that I'm looking forward to seeing, the mixing and matching, who's where. And also, too, don't sleep on this name, an undrafted free agent who I've kind of gotten to know a little bit, his story and his background through relationships and learning about his time at North Dakota State. Mason Miller is a big physical offensive lineman. And while I don't think that he's going to potentially make the team, maybe he'll be on the practice squad, but I do think that the investment made in him could provide, keep that name in your Rolodex in a couple years, because he could be battling for a tackle spot to take Taylor Decker's job, because he's a big, physical, gritty, athletic offensive tackle, but he can play all 5 spots. But he's a natural tackle, and he's a big man, and he definitely stood out at rookie minicamp. But when you step up in competition, it's always going to be tough, and it's going to be an uphill climb for a lot of the undrafted free agents. But one to watch is Mason Miller. I definitely think he's got a lot to bring to the table, and if he's competitive and gets after it, look out, he could even make the team.
And now that we're talking about names like Mason Miller, Doc, the team is becoming a lot more like, you could see it. You could see the vision of the team. You can't see it obviously before the draft, and even after the draft. It's kind of hard to see how everything slots in. We're going to start seeing these players on the field all across the NFL, but specifically in the NFC North. Now that we're in the stage of going into OTAs, which team do you think is going to be most likely finishes last? Because Cabinda was talking about the Vikings could be really good, but you don't know. Obviously, the Bears, still the Chicago Bears, and the Packers. Mad Matthew Golden, but I don't still see them as like a lock to be a threat. Which team do you think finishes dead last if you had to pick right now?
Yeah, if I had to pick right now, it's the Bears. F the Bears. I think that when you start the year with your quarterback causing a bunch of drama by being in a book and having your family talk all over the place, my goodness, what a distraction. They've made improvements, but if you tell me right now, I think J.J. McCarthy and Justin Jefferson and the wideouts will develop a quick connection. I love what Jordan Love and Jaden Reed can potentially do with if they can stay healthy. Granted, that's always been a difficulty, and the Packers defense is always a question mark. But I look at the Bears and I say they've made improvements, but to the point that they've caught everybody else. And another great article that was put out today, another outlet, I wrote it from the 4-letter network that's super awesome, as well as Sports Illustrated. They put out their football power index. and they have the percentages. They ran the analytics. It's a big geeky thousands and thousands of simulations that kind of tells them where the Lions rank, and they look at the schedule. And so right now, as we speak, the Lions are 42% to win the NFC North in the FPI index, and they're the 4th best team in the National Football League, which you could have read on Lions on SI, fully detailed what was said in the FPI index. And what was said in that article, the last place team was probably still the Bears, where they're still considered an average team. They got work to do. It may take time for the offensive line to gel. Ben Johnson is a guy that's going to install a very detailed offense. It's going to be good in a couple years, but rookie tight ends take a little bit of time to develop. So at this point in time, just like I told the Bears reporters, I think Caleb Williams is overrated, and I think the Bears are going to be the last place team as we sit today. Why not say it? After the Bears, last place.
All right. Well, Doc, we can agree to disagree there, but let me ask you this: Mina Kimes, that was the hot article this week for you, Doc, with Mina Kimes mentioning how the other side of Hutch, there's still some concern there, and I understand why that's going to be one of the bigger storylines, because it was mentioned in that video in the article that Aiden Hutchinson led the team in sacks, even though he missed most of the year. What'd you think of what she said, and what do you think of kind of that narrative? And is there any, because my point was, I think Tyleek's going to help Aiden a lot, but is that fair to say, or do you think that should be something Lions fans should still be concerned about? And people nationally are not too far off by bringing it up constantly with the Lions.
Yeah, no, it's interesting because a lot of people have strong opinions on Miss Mina Kimes because of her Geno Smith love and her loyalty to the Seahawks. Look, everybody has great takes. Everybody has takes that they go, maybe not the best. So I look at it like, okay, I respect that she's on TV. She does a lot of things that are very well. She's very smart, very connected, relies on analytics. Some things I agree with her, some things I don't. This one was pretty fair in her analysis in that she says the Lions don't have that guy opposite of Aiden. But similarly to you guys, what you guys say too is not many teams have 2 all-world, all-pro defensive ends. But what the whole point of that thesis is that if the Lions can get pressure from the interior, which the Eagles were also stellar at, that helps the opposite end of Aiden, because what the complexion of a team looks like is, if you can clog the middle, if you can stop the run, you start at a point where you make a team one-dimensional. And what's most important is getting pressures. And what can help is the pressure. And I do think that Kelvin Shepherd is going to find creative ways to get pressure for this football team. And where we look at the question where people I see ask, and people will always say, okay, somebody here that's a host of this show says the Lions defensive line could be underrated. I can entertain that opinion that this defensive line is going to be probably more productive than what people expect. But the step where I take, and where Mina may say it as well, and many national pundits will agree, is this Lions team can probably get to the NFC title game and get to the Super Bowl. But at that final game, when you're facing the best other team in the league, we all saw, and this is where people go and they just get like blinders on and they just go, well, the Lions defensive line can be really good. They got this guy, this guy, this guy. I go, yeah, they're okay. But when the Eagles faced the Chiefs, they were able to dominate. They didn't just win, they dominated. They were able to knock Mahomes all over the place. They made Mahomes make silly throws that were out of character. At the highest level, you got to win your battles against another great offensive line when you're in the Super Bowl. So I think that's where I was look at it and say, the more talent you can acquire along the defensive line, the better, because the Eagles and Chiefs both had guys last year. The 2 guys that tied with the most sacks in the playoffs were, one guy on the Eagles had 4 and another on the Chiefs also had 4 sacks. So you need guys to produce at the highest levels at a time when you're producing. So I do think that there's still a chance that collectively this defensive line does well, but I have my doubts at the highest levels of football, Final 4, Final 2. Do they have enough to top a great offensive line? That'll be the question. I do believe they could add at the trade deadline, but sitting here today, my humble opinion, similar to Mina's, is that I would like a little bit. Okay, you don't. And so what people do is they take it to the extreme. Okay, you don't have to have another Aiden Hutchinson opposite of Aiden Hutchinson. What people say is maybe a little bit better than Marcus Davenport, who's a little bit injury prone, and a young defensive end who has no experience in regards to this level. Just a little bit better. Just a little bit better in between. You don't have to be an injury prone guy and a guy that's inexperienced. So that's where the valid complaints that fans have is super valid. And I've never once told a fan that said the Lions are deficient along the defensive line at defensive end that they're wrong, because you should always want more. You should always want an upgrade all over the place.
Yeah, Dak, I don't hate it. I know I put that tweet out there. But again, and then, the caveat in that tweet, hey, you add another piece like Za'Darius, or then that puts you at a different level to, like I said in the tweet, like a top 5 level to go win a Super Bowl. That puts you over the top in that spot. I do want to. That was literally the next question I did want to bring up to you. Was the Za'Darius Smith thing? He obviously isn't signed anywhere yet. I don't know if that's for a reason or not. If he's looking to come back. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think there's still a good chance that you see Za'Darius Smith with the Detroit Lions this offseason? I know it's OTAs, or is he just waiting until training camp to sign with a different team? Is it he's waiting for different deals? Like, what do you think's happening there with Za'Darius right now?
What I think's happening with Za'Darius? I think he's on the Stephon Diggs plan. I think he's on a boat and he's chilling, doing his thing. And he's got the cash. He's got the young lady on his arm. He don't want to hang out at Allen Park at this time of year. You've asked me this in a couple different ways, and I understand the love of Za'Darius Smith. I understand the topic. Lots of people have looked at different ways, and they've keep circling around with Trey Hendrickson and they've circled back now to DeMarcus Walker from the Bears. There's been articles at publications saying the Lions should keep looking at him. They should say, look, Za'Darius, if the price is right and they match up a contract that he feels comfortable with, again, like I said before, he's got a lot of leverage. He wants to hang out. He's on the Aaron Rodgers plan as well. Hang out. You're a veteran. You don't want to work out. You don't want to work out in the team. You want to do your own thing. You want to wake up in your own bed and have some lady bring you some strawberries, put on your slippers, go outside in your warm, sunny state, whether it be he's got a great place in Florida and he's hanging out, working out, keeping in shape. If a player on a contender goes down, boom, he makes a couple more extra $1 million guaranteed. So he's going to sit back. If he signs during training camp, I would be surprised. I would say right around that third preseason game, you might start hearing the names of Za'Darius Smith. But before then, you can keep asking in a myriad of ways. And I'm going to keep telling you, maybe you guys are not in that party mindset. I am in the party mindset, as you can tell. Memorial Day, sunny day, drinks were flowing out by the water, enjoying the family. Hope you guys are not just working day and night. Hope you guys are spending some of the great YouTube money that you're making. Hopefully you guys are going out on the boats and hanging out and enjoying life, because as great as covering the NFL and doing these great interviews is, there's a whole other side of life that's just absolutely amazing in terms of hanging out with friends, drinking, doing the things that, are great in terms of making fun of your friends and laughing and learning and all that kind of stuff. These guys, at this point in time, it's work. It's truly work. So Za'Darius Smith is partying and and vacationing. I do not think that he is thinking about football at all, other than his standard need to work out 2 hours a day. He'll come back when he's ready. I think there's a good chance it could be with the Detroit Lions, but not before the middle of training camp, man. Come on. Why would you? There's no benefit. There's no benefit whatsoever. He's rich. He's famous. He's got a lot of intangibles that would allow him to not want to work at this time.
And Doc, I want to ask you, Tigers now, kind of switching it up. After seeing them get swept by the Guardians, who I cannot stand, and then seeing them sweep the recent series, how are you feeling? Because obviously that's a change of emotions, but seeing now that Parker Meadows going to be on the come up, but then you see that they're still having some issues with the injuries as well. How are you feeling after the last two series?
Yeah, absolutely. First and foremost, chat, keep liking the stream. I appreciate the fact that there's still more live viewers right now than there was for the other guy. So that bodes well for me. I've been on for 45 minutes, and
Cooking, Doc.
I'm that guy that will look. So that's cool. I appreciate you guys tremendously for sticking with it and listening and enjoying. You guys are amazing to do that. Like these guys, comment if you like what I'm saying or don't like it. It's great. Make sure you support it. That's how these guys keep growing. That's how these algorithms keep going, by just liking it. They should have 50 to 100 likes every single time. So like it and tell everybody that there's a crazy guy talking on the internet every Wednesday. The Tigers, first and foremost, how bad was it that this grounds person, I kept seeing, well, he was flicking off the audience. And then a couple tweets later, she was flicking off the audience. Nobody knew how to identify the person except the doc, who properly said, hey, this grounds person from the Detroit Tigers just gave the magic finger to the fans. That's a PR nightmare right there that got out there. That's not a good look. But I'll say this. We all have those moments, right, where you're just frustrated and you just feel like you need to wave the finger. But my goodness, it felt like the second that finger flew in the air, the whole world saw it. So it was very intriguing. Look, the Cleveland Guardians series was eye-opening, because that's a team that probably is still in the head of the Detroit Tigers. Not a great look to lose 3 or 4, but there's still plenty of time to regroup. I'm concerned a little bit about Jackson Jobe. They're saying that probably there's a rehab start or a stint in Toledo to bring up Cobb. That doesn't excite me whatsoever. That's a buzzkill right there to see that. But look, the good thing about the Tigers as a good baseball club, they lose 3 or 4. And they come back and sweep the Giants, who were a decent baseball team. And, Vierling going down is a setback, but I like that Wenzel Perez is able to do his thing. And look, it's collectively a good group of guys. It's just, look, it's not now another week later, it's not, and I think this will prove and bear out that the Tigers are not in the same class as the Dodgers, but they're going to win a lot of games, and they're going to be a baseball squad that I hope adds. You add a couple more pieces and you get a little bit healthier. This is a squad that can make some noise. Not the ultimate top 1 prize, but I do see building blocks. I think maybe you win 2 series this year and maybe get to the final 4, maybe even the final 2. But when you got a stopper like Tariq Skubal, my God, it's just, you sit back and you can drink a beer and watch a Detroit Tigers game. You can be proud of that squad. You can say, hey, they battle. They represent the city perfectly. And it is an amazing baseball squad that I hope everybody's getting a chance to enjoy, because it could be a very, very special season. And what's great, what I love personally, is I do think legitimately you have the top 1 or 2 managers in the entire game. I think he sees the field in the game in a way that I kind of see broadcasting. Like, you just know, hey, I should write this. I should write this. I should talk about this. I should mention this. When you're in the zone and you just know that, hey, I write this, boom, a lot of people, hey, I should talk about this. People are going to listen to it. I should mention this. This will piss off half the world. It's just when you're in the zone and you know what to say and how to do it, it's amazing. And I do think that AJ Hinch is in a class all by himself where he's a visionary. And I love that he's the manager of the Tigers. And you know what makes him great too? Psychology background. All greats have a psychology background, because it lets you see the playing field of dealing with people so much easier.
Hey, Doc,
to check it out, AJ Hinch, I think, studied psychology at some point in his studies, and he brought it up on a lot of podcasts, and it just raises my eyebrow. I'm like, yes, I do think that all great managers of people should have, and coaches should have, some extensive psychology training.
Doc, we got a couple chat questions here I want to get to. Rando Small says, with all the talent on this roster, could some other teams trade for some players that might not make the team? At Doc.
Yeah. Great question. I think we're talking about the Lions in regards to the 53-man roster. It's going to be a tough situation. I do think that in years past, a lot of players do end up on other rosters. They could get picked up. The one name that everyone looks at is Hendon Hooker. Could he be in a spot where he showcases some things? I'm curious, with Sione Vaki and the likes and guys on the last year of their contract, what that could look like. But yeah, I could see some moves being made, and a lot of the players that end up getting cut might not be available for the practice squad. They might end up, that roster cut down day will be pretty sick. There'll be an opportunity for a lot of teams to pick some good players.
Let's see. Malik says, Doc Milbag, who is Brad Holmes more likely to trade for at the deadline? Defensive end Samson Ibukam from the Indianapolis Colts, or wide receiver Michael Woods II from the Cleveland Browns?
Yeah, of those, you always look at defensive ends. I think that you can never have enough. Wide receiver, I think they're going to be pretty set. They got 5 good ones if they stay healthy. The position that I think also could be targeted as a veteran is safety. You have 2 good ones. Dan Jackson's young. You have some competition there, but they're not experienced. So you could look to a veteran safety or a guy on a team that could be moved down the last year of a contract. Safety and offensive line, you can always add depth there for a team, especially because the starters are good. Depth at a couple spots in rotational guards and tackles are okay, but you could always add more.
What about Levi? Do you think Levi is going to stay here throughout the entirety of the year? Probably, right?
Yeah, if he's healthy, I think the Lions love it because he's on a contract year. He's going to show out. He's going to ball out and have a very, very good year. I'm very excited to see what he can do because he only got a 1-year deal. That contract shocked everybody. Everybody had him for longer term, more money. So to get that deal, it's a steal, but you need more out of him. He stays healthy. I don't think he gets traded.
Hey, real quick, I want to follow up on some of these questions because it did bring a thought to my mind here, Doc. Who are some guys on that roster right now, the 90-man or whatever it is, that people might be shocked to hear, hey, man, they might be on the cut line here for the 53-man, like some bigger names maybe that people don't realize. Do you have any names that you've thought of over the last few weeks going into OTAs and then obviously the next few months in training camp?
Yeah, 2 guys in particular. The one we talked about first, Graham Glasgow. The other, maybe because there's a lot of special teams help, maybe Caleb Raymond. He's an older player. You do get a little bit of cap relief. You do have a guy in Tesla in waiting. You do have Grant Stewart as a special teams ace. You have other guys that can do the job. But I do think Caleb Raymond is like a spiritual leader. He's a guy that can do a lot of different things as a kick returner, but you also have options as well. So pay attention to that spot. Special teams is always important. And I do think that's, bigger names I think are tougher because I do think the 53-man roster right now for most people that have put it together looks pretty set. I just think the names that may surprise people and may not surprise people are the 2 developmental guys, Giovanni Manu and Broderick Martin. If they don't compete, if they don't do the job, they're quickly out. Colby Sorsdahl is another guy that is lower on the depth chart that many people think is a cut list guy that's been here quite a bit of time. So, and then another guy too, maybe another year here, maybe on the cut list. You got to see, because if Sione Vaki takes a step forward, Craig Reynolds is always interesting because he's always on that borderline of being a guy that's the 3rd running back, but always in that mix of kind of not being utilized as much unless there's an injury. So Craig Reynolds is always interesting to pay attention to as well because he's always on that kind of borderline.
Yeah, the whole Vaki thing, Vaki making the cut, I would assume Vaki would make that cut. I don't know. I guess. Yeah, I mean,
because he's just like one of their best special teams players.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and I think what people want to see too is, which is a great question, people want to see, and maybe a question that gets asked maybe this week or next week for Dan Campbell is, do you sprinkle in some looks for Sione at safety? I think they want to see him at running back. They project him there, but more competition to see what he can bring to the table. That's where he played in college. So he's a converted safety. So we'll see what he can bring to the table. But Sione Vaki is nowhere near the cut list. I think that he's a good player. And when you're drafted, I feel like your opportunity to develop is so much more.
Hey, well, Doc, we appreciate the hell out of you. You keep up the great work. Everyone should go read Detroit Lions on SI. They're pumping out articles all the time, daily, multiple times a day. And with OTAs, they're going to be really busy. Doc, we love you. Follow the Doc at Detroit Podcast. We'll see you next Wednesday, my friend.
Yes, I will not miss unless I get sick. That's it. And again, when you read, let the whole page load. Take a minute. Don't just start and hope that some things load. There are sometimes will be videos in the middle. There'll be a couple ads that, got to pay my bills and pay for my habits. Just let the whole page load. Then you can see all the tweets that give context for those that want to critique what tweets get put in or don't get put in. Let the whole page load. Relax. Read the stories. And please message if you don't like it at Detroit Podcast. All comments are welcome. This whole chat is welcome to message anytime. Thank you for holding the audience and growing it while I talk. I'm humbled that the audience grew with me on it. It means a lot that you guys give me an hour of time. You listen to me rant and rave and send unbelievably wild and inappropriate text messages. I appreciate it. It means a lot. You accept me for who I am, and I am who I am. And that's the DOC from the 586. Peace, fellas.
Hey, wait, Doc, don't leave yet. Don't leave yet.
586.
2 questions. First one, what's on your wrist right now?
Okay. I've gotten into a watch collection. I'm
I
not
see
wearing
something
that.
on your left
I'm
shoulder,
not wearing
too.
that. I'm not wearing that. Shinolas are the king. Those are the most the dailies.
Yep.
But I was working. I got bored. Literally, like I was telling you on Monday, I get bored and I'm just prone. So today, on Monday, actually, I just went and bought a Citizen, couple $100 watch. I liked it.
Okay.
It's got a green dial, and it's nice. It replicates the things we were talking about. It's a nice everyday watch, automatic. And I walked into Oakland Mall, got some food, and I was walking around, and I'm like, a couple $100 on a watch, not going to set the DOC back. But yes, I have now gotten into watches, and you guys know what I'm about. And please, I'll free advice: do not get into nice watches. You get addicted. You like it. You spend way too much time looking at the prices and making purchases you need not. Do not. Just stick with a simple Shinola, a couple $100, Citizen, inexpensive. It's an expensive habit to get into. It's fun, but it is one of those things where if you get hooked, they told me, don't get hooked. I got hooked.
Hey, if you ever need someone just to borrow that Rolex, Doc, you know where to find me. I might need to watch.
I don't know if Doc wanted that out there, Jeff.
It's all good. It's all good.
He didn't. Jeff just threw it out there. I don't think the Doc wanted it out there.
It's a nice watch.
Listen.
Doc sent us a few pictures this week with a couple, rollies.
Yeah, let me tell you this, guys. I made a goal when I was 20. I was like, okay, I want to bust my ass and work hard to buy a nice men's watch at 40 years old. All my elders had nice watches. I grew up and I was like, oh, wow, this is kind of a status symbol. This is who you are. What's the first thing? So by the time I was 40, I had the funds to do it. I just couldn't take it out of my pocket to actually, I'm like, I can't, like, it would go like this. I could not pay to do it. When I hit 45, I was like, it's all good, man. Life's a blessing. God's rewarded me with a lot of blessings, and
Jeff's gonna get the Doc robbed. Jeff, this is all on you. If something happens to the Doc, this is on you, Jeff. There's some.
It's all good. It's insured, and there's cameras all over this house, man. So
okay, make sure the Doc's safe.
Hey, ever seen like Scarface? That's what the Doc's pad looks like. It's
listen.
You got armed guards. You got
Jeff's out here trying. He's asking someone to go rob the Doc, man. Come on, Jeff.
No, not at all. Listen. I'm happy with or without. God bless me with health, family, good friends, opportunities in life. That's all materialistic. It's all, and guys, guess what? It's all insured. So if you take it, I can upgrade. Because I have ways to upgrade. So it's all good, man. If you feel the need to take advantage of the DOC, please listen. I worked hard. I busted my ass for 10 years. I am now enjoying the fruits of the labor and doing my thing. But listen, free advice for everybody: bust your ass, do the work, have fun, sit back and enjoy life, and enjoy the fruits of your labor. You're not gonna die with the fruits of your labor. So enjoy it. And I definitely enjoy the work that I did. And it's pretty much clear that I'm a success. And listen, I have 2-3 jobs. I'm a bright guy. And all I want people to know about me is I'm a bright, humble guy. And I will defend anything that I write defend my opinion staunchly. And I love the fact that we get to have this kind of fun every single Wednesday.
Staunchly.
I'll defend any opinion. And if you come at me
Never heard that word in my life.
come back and bite just as hard. But yeah, it's the DOC is not rolling light, man. I'm not rolling light.
I mean, hey, love you, Doc. I'll talk to you next week.
Yeah, love you, Doc.
There you go.
Appreciate
DOC!
you.
Joining the show. Shout out to the DOC, man. It's Doc Montana, dude. That guy's got a compound.
Montana.
He does. And you know what? You did have me worried there when I heard the Rolex come out of your mouth. I went, oh no! I heard the Doc go
compound. I mean, you go over there.
Doc said, "Whoa, there it is."
He got pink cocaine. He's got all types of stuff over at the DOC's compound. He's got armed guards, cameras, rollies,
and himself.
and himself. Yeah, it's amazing. I appreciate, man. What a great show today. This is great.
The Doc might be the funniest guy in Detroit
Woke up his
sports.
family.
Yeah, he's 101, man. I mean, he just is. This like we started this a year ago. The annual Doc appearances. It's been, I think, I don't even know what the date we started. I have to go back and look, but it's been like almost a year. You know,
It's over a year. I think he like as soon as we started Wednesdays, we were like, "Hey, do you want Wednesdays?" He said, "Yup, I'm in," without a question.
What a guy. Appreciate you all.
Hasn't missed a week.
Get your merchandise, Official CT Sports.
Get
Appreciate
your
the
merch.
support. Tell a friend, man. Subscribe and become a Crunch member. You get perks. So you know how it goes over here. But until tomorrow,
Can we, before we leave, can we say, hey, in a couple weeks, let's say like a week or two out, we'll do one big drop of golf merch for the people that golf. Maybe we should go get polos ready, a bunch of different things ready, and we can do some research and get some things.
I want to mention too, for milestone, which we're deciding on, we want to do to hit that milestone a long stream. We're in the
maybe
works.
24 hours.
So with like, you know, we want to really help push, and we're going to figure out that milestone pretty soon, what we want to do with it. So stay tuned. Tomorrow also,
Tyler Conklin.
Joining the show. So we'll speak to Tyler tomorrow. But until then, appreciate you all.
Love you guys.
Adios. Bubbles.
Peace.